Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Trent Bridge Live. It is Rivals Night here at the Bridge. Vitality Blast Action. Luke Fletcher is with me. Rivals Night means one thing. Pesky Derbyshire Falcons are in town. Fletch, how are we feeling?
I mean, I'm devastated. I can't even stay and watch.
I wasn't going to ask you that.
I've abandoned my car because I can't watch this game.
But you've got a barbecue on, haven't you, at home?
I will have a barbecue on later, but I'm desperate to play. This is the game when the fixtures come out at the start of the season. You want to play Friday night, Trent Bridge, under lights, against Derbyshire. What an occasion.
Now, I can't remember who it is.
No, I've never met him before.
No. I think I've got a lot of chatter about him, apparently.
I'll tell you what, he rang me earlier. He was very giddy today. He's wasted a lot of energy and he's getting on a bit as well.
Yeah, he sent me a few WhatsApp, which I cannot repeat, but there we go. But just to let you know that the toss has taken place between the Derbyshire Falcons captain Sammy Patel and Joe Clark. Joe Clark won that toss and he has chosen to have a bat. So, nice. Surprised by that, or do you think that's, go out there, set a target and, really use the crowd and everything to our advantage?
Yeah, you know what, we seem to have bowled a lot first when we won the toss, haven't we? Send out the big lads, Hales and Clark, get it slapped around Trent Bridge, let's crack on.
You're buzzing for
That's
this, aren't you?
I am buzzing. I am, but I think so. Go out there, get stuck in, get it lashed around Trent Bridge, and then get the bowlers out there and hopefully defend it well.
Pitch looks pretty decent to me as well. It looks like, not agree with that?
I don't know.
I mean, you know more about it than me.
It's a U service, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that's maybe why we've chosen to have a bat first as well.
I think
Yeah, but it looks, sense. Obviously it looks like something might happen second innings, but it looks like first off, put a score on the board and give your bowlers something to kind of chase and target.
Absolutely. We get a big score. It'll put Derbyshire under a hell of a lot of pressure. And if the pitch is holding up or gripping with our spin attack, we've got Kelvin Harrison and Montgomery, Lead Patterson-White. So we've got a lot of slow bowlers here as well. So that'll be difficult for them. But you've got to get a score first, so we'll see.
I don't need to do the team read now, do I? You've just mentioned about four of them. Should we do the team read?
But then 3 are playing.
That's good to know. Should we let you know who else is playing in the Outlaws? So first of all, he made his debut in the last game, but you can't really call that a debut, can you? Because of the rain-affected Durham. But it is Ben Martindale, and obviously we wish him well out there in the middle with Joe Clark as they open the batting. As I just mentioned, Joe Clark is next. The Outlaws captain will be looking to pick up his first victory as captain here at Trent Bridge and his second of the campaign. Next up is a very experienced Alex Hales. He needs a further 69 runs to reach 12,500 in T20 cricket, and he plays his last match of the group stage, but he will be available should the Outlaws progress further. Next up, Jack Haynes, currently top scorer for the Outlaws and with 150 to his name so far this campaign. Tom Moores currently has a strike rate of over 107 in this year's campaign, and he's behind the stumps with the gloves once again. Part of that middle order, Fletcher's just mentioned him, Matthew Montgomery. He needs 83 runs to reach 500 runs in T20 cricket. Next, somebody else in that middle order, Lyndon James, 3 wickets from 66 balls bowled in the Blast this year, and he wears the number 8. Another player that Fletch mentioned, LPW, Leon Patterson-White. He'll be looking to make an impact like he did on his debut, and he plays only his 4th T20 match. Calvin Harrison, he bowls leg spin, and his best figures in this year's campaign are 2 for 22. He's got 10 wickets so far in this campaign and is 8 away from 100 T20 career wickets. It is your Outlaws number 9, Ollie Stone. And then finally, he plays his last match as an Outlaw. It is Ben Lister, currently with 6 wickets so far this campaign, and he wears the number 27. So they are your 11 Outlaws players. You mentioned 4 of them.
That's a mouthful, wasn't it?
I write it every week.
Do you do that before every game?
Before every game, and I'm thinking, what can I write? Is that enough? Is that not? But it does. It's plenty. When Flex says plenty, it means plenty. Let's pick out a few people there. If we start with the captain, Joe Clark. Obviously, his first season as a captain. Very experienced in white ball. Now he's played obviously in the Big Bash. He's played in the Pakistan Super League, the 100. What's he been like as a captain? Obviously, you've been in and around the team. I know you're currently injured, but in that game against Birmingham Bears, what's he been like as a captain?
He was calm, he was really calm. he lets everyone know their role before the game. He came up to me before the game and said, look, this is what I want you to bowl. One in the power play, one in the middle and two at the end. Absolutely fine. So all the players are clear on their roles and what they've got to do. And then out there in the middle, he seemed really calm under pressure. And that's pretty much all you can ask for. I mean, obviously, he's not had the greatest times with the bat, but with players like Joe Clark, Alex Hales, them experienced players, you know that something serious is around the corner. So it wouldn't surprise me tonight if he came out here and blasted it all over the place.
Do you think that's maybe like just the fact he won the toss, he opens the batting with Ben Martindale, and a word on obviously Ben, 21 years of age, didn't get to bat against Durham the other week. He's batting today. Do you think he'll be a little bit nervous?
Yes.
Do you think Clarkie's maybe got to just kind of take the pressure off Ben and maybe show a bit of intent, or how do you think they'll kind of play together?
I think they'll play their own game. I think Clarkie will play his own game, and that will naturally take the pressure off Ben. But Ben, he smashes it as well, so he's got to play his own game. So listen, it's
in the Outlaws, but obviously we'll be looking for revenge. They obviously beat us earlier on in the campaign.
Derby are a good side.
Yeah,
they are a good side. They've got a good bowling attack. They've got some experience now. One of them is Samit Patel. Obviously, we spoke a lot about Samit, but he's got a lot of experience. Wayne Madsen, a lot of experience as well. So they're a pretty well polished side, Derby, and they'll want to come here and they'll want to turn us over. And I can't quite remember if through my career, the 17 years, I don't think Derby ever beat us twice in the T20 season. So that'll be their main aim coming into Trent Bridge, and they're going well in the tournament as well. So
yeah, well, if we look at the table in the North Group, then really, it's kind of quite tight in that middle area. Obviously Outlaws at the bottom. We all know kind of the start that we've had. We're at the halfway stage here. Is it about maybe getting a bit of momentum? I know we go back to Red Bull, in 2 days' time, but is it important to finish on a positive way in this kind of T20 section?
Yeah, it is, but you know what, all these cliche words, forget all them today. It's Derby Day. Go out there and back yourself and get stuck in. That is it. Forget everything that's gone on in the past. Doesn't matter. These are the days you want to play cricket, especially with this county.
You can't really beat anything else, can you? Like you said, mention the time.
Friday night, what? You know what I mean? Whatever happened in the past is gone. You're playing against Derbyshire in front of your home crowd. And look at the ground, it looks amazing. Go out there, enjoy yourself, and back yourself.
So come on then, you've been up in that dressing room. If you were playing today, what are you saying to Clarkie, to the Hales? What do you want on the board? What's your score prediction? What are you going?
I don't tend to say anything like that, especially to the batsmen.
Well, you are quite quiet, to be fair.
No, I don't speak to the batters about it. Well, I don't know too much about batting, but they will assess it. So they'll get out there, they'll assess it within the first 2 overs, and they'll know. Listen, this is going to be a good score. It's starting to grip a bit. So if we get to 170, 180, that's a really good score. Par score at Trent Bridge in the last 5 years is probably 200. So if it's not quite there, let's get to 180. Let's put some pressure on that way.
So you said you wouldn't speak to the batters because you haven't got experience as batting.
No,
you've got very experience in bowling, especially here. So as a bowler, what would you like to sort of have a go at and look to defend?
Honestly, anything, but the more runs the better, really, because you can be more aggressive, can't you?
Yeah.
But anything above 160, 150, 160, it depends. If the batsmen, they come off at half time, say, listen, the ball is sticking in the pitch, it's hard. take pace off it, blah blah blah, whatever it is, or it's not. It's an absolute road. If you're under pressure, you're going to have to back yourself to get your Yorker in. All these conversations that you do have, which gives you that little bit more of a chance when you go out there, they'll be happening at half time, but the batters will be the ones that assess it first hand, because they're obviously batting first. But these conversations will be going on throughout the whole game.
Now, how important, you've said, like, you know, the crowd, you're very famous with, you know, Radcliffe Road, and it looks like it could be the biggest crowd that we've had here at Trent Bridge for this game. How important, maybe a good start, you know, 4 6s, a strong power play, just get the crowd involved, get some noise going, put Derby under pressure, because they'll be looking to put us under pressure with how we've been this season.
Go at it. You've got to just go at it. You can't go off measured. I need to say a swear word then. You can't go off measured in this format. You got to go out there, back yourself, and have a go. That's all you can do.
Right.
Let's get this place rocking.
I want 2 words from you, because we're in the video. The crowd's getting up for it. I can tell you're up for it. You made me get up for it.
I'm not. I'm going to go home. I can't watch.
I'm going to sit at home and watch the stream. Who's going to be the star tonight? Two words. Name a player. Who's going to be the star?
Who's going to be the star? Liam Patson White.
That's 3 words, but never mind. Fletch, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you enjoy your barbecue. Stick Trent Bridge Lion on.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Right, it's time for gameplay. The voices you will hear are Kyle and Dave Bracegirdle.
Good evening, Adam. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us here on probably the first sunny evening we've had during the T20 Blast this season. You joined us just at the right time as the flamethrowers go off at the far end of the ground, shooting those flashes of fire up into the sky. Don't really have that much effect when it's bright daylight and plenty of sunshine, but following on, we can see our 2 umpires, 2 men of Lancashire in the past, Steve O'Shaughnessy and Graham Lloyd there at umpires, and then Derbyshire in their all dark blue strip with the pale blue numbers, just getting into a little bit of a huddle at the far end, and that's because Notts have won the toss here. They've opted to bat first. They bowled first last weekend in that what looked as if it was going to be a bit of a pummelling in the power play. Durham were 58 without loss after just 5 overs when the rains came. I think Notts were probably the happier of the 2 sides to get off at that stage, but sadly the rain didn't relent. So as Adam said, Notts on a little bit of a run, 2 matches undefeated. They won at Worcestershire, that was also rain assisted last Friday evening, and then the rain assisted draw against Durham on Saturdays. Notts bottom, 9th and bottom of the North Group with 3 points. Derbyshire have won 3 and lost 4. They've got 7 points, but one of those victories they've got was heavily against Notts. When we went to the county ground 2 weeks ago tonight. 10 of this Derbyshire 11 played. The one that didn't is going to open the bowling. Alex Thompson, the off-spinner, is in for Mitch Wagstaff, who played in a second 11 game in the week and got a blow to the head, so he's out with concussion. Carl van Vollenhoven to my left will bring you in for more of a chat in a moment, but initially, good evening. Are you looking forward to this?
I am. It's always wonderful when the sun is shining and a bit of cricket to watch. It's brilliant. Let's go.
So Ben Martindale is opening the batting. This is his second T20 game for the Outlaws. The first he fielded the ball a couple of times, but obviously the game was called off very early on. So this is his first opportunity with bat in hand, and Alex Thompson bowls, and it's drilled back to the Derbyshire number 15. So not so Joe Clark, Ben Martindale, Alex Hales, Jack Haynes, Tom Moores, Matt Montgomery, Lyndon James, Liam Patterson-White, Calvin Harrison, Ollie Stone and Ben Lister. Reverse sweep from Martindale, and he's hit it straight to Zach Chappell, one of two former Notts players in the Derbyshire lineup, of course. The other one, Samit Patel. Give you the Derbyshire side in full in just a moment. And comes Thompson, tall man, high action, bowls, and Martindale gets his first run in T20 cricket, slamming it down the ground to long off for a single. Notts are underway and will swap over for the right-handed Clark. So Derbyshire, Nye Donald, David Lloyd, Cam Fletcher, Wayne Madsen, Samit Patel, Ross Whiteley, who did a lot of the damage 2 weeks ago, Brooke Guest, the wicket-keeper, Alex Thompson, who's bowling, Zach Chappell, Pat Brown, and the South African Darren Dupavilon.
I'm enjoying hearing you say that again, Dave. Dupavilon. Pronunciation's fantastic.
Field has been set for Clark, but it wasn't set for that ball. Just dragged down by Thompson, and Joe Clark is 6 from one ball. It was a half tracker from Alex Thompson, and Clark quickly into position and lifted it over, and the ball one bounce into the wall at the base of the Fox Road stand.
Nice little give me ball. First ball for Joe Clark to receive. Drag down, and Joe Clark is never going to miss out on that. I think whatever his prayers were before the game, that was what he got, and lovely shot and a great start for Clark. Notts Outlaws are 7 for no loss.
Good evening so far for the Notts skipper, and won the toss. Clearly had a game plan of batting first, putting runs on the board, and he's got 6 of them already. Joe Clark playing his 71st T20 match for Notts. I think he might well have damaged this ball. It wasn't his bat that did it. It was undoubtedly the clattering into that brick wall at the base of the Fox Road stand, and the two umpires are getting together just to inspect the ball a little more closely.
Make sure that there's no damage done to that ball. They really are hot on that this year.
Don't think it's going to be changed. It isn't. Maybe just snipped off a little bit of the loose covering and handed back to Alex Thompson. 4 balls gone in this over, 7 on the board already. Next one is played by Clark a little more circumspectly, pushes it back to the bowler. Joe Clark playing his 16th T20 game against Derbyshire, best of 76. On strike now, and again he goes down on one knee, lifts it away on the leg side, and this one just bounces a couple of yards, couple of metres, whichever way you want to call it, just inside the rope, and knocks her away nicely with 11 from that first over. Joe Clark timing the ball beautifully. A single for Ben Martindale, who will be on strike at the start of the second over, and then a 6 and a 4 from Clark.
Great first over, great batting, Joe Clark, clever batting, punishing what is to say not great bowling from Thompson. This time just drifting a little bit too straight, and Joe Clark getting out the broom and hitting it over square leg for 4. We're going to see Darren Dupavilon bowling from the Radcliffe Road end.
Yeah, it took me a little bit by surprise there, because all through that over Zach Chappell was getting himself ready. But it is the South African who wears number 8, 29 years of age, from Durban, right on fast. Impressed me at Derby. Got 3 wickets in that game. He's bowling to Martindale. A full toss, which is driven into the offside, stung the hands of Samit Patel, who I guess in a sense was a little grateful that it was hit straight at him, because it was hit so forcefully a yard either side, and Samit, bless him, wouldn't have got anywhere near it.
Unlucky. It's exactly that. Ben Martindale just couldn't quite find the gap. There will be nerves for him. T20 debut Friday night at Trent Bridge.
Loosener from Dupavilon. Let's see if he can pitch this one. Good looking surface, and Martindale again is unlucky. He's punched it to mid off, and the shy comes in, narrowly misses, and Ben Martindale, obviously one or two nerves there. They want to rotate the strike, they want to put runs on the board, but that was perilously close to costing him his wicket. It's Cam Fletcher, the New Zealander, who made his Falcons debut in the game at the county ground against Notts, shying at the stumps, and actually he was quite a way off.
He was. It looked decent from up here, but on the replay, a mile away.
Brings Joe Clark back on to strike, right-hander, so Dupavilon goes over the wicket and comes in past umpire O'Shaughnessy. Bowls nice and full, and Clark turns it away square on the leg side, out to Ross Whiteley, who does the fielding. Ross Whiteley, it's wrong to say he was the difference between the two sides at Derby, but he scored 46 from 16 balls right at the end of the innings, just to power them to a total that did seem to be well over par. And then in his first bowl for 13 years, I couldn't believe it really, I went back and had to check the records, it was his first bowl in T20 for 13 years. He picked up 3 Notts wickets. He'd clearly been brought out just for that one game by Samit Patel. Have a bowl. Martindale's on strike here, and he drives this past Patel for 4. I did say earlier in the over, the one that he hit straight at Samit, it only needed to be a yard wide of the 39-year-old, and that would be a boundary. This time he did get it a yard wide of the 39-year-old. Outlaws 17 without loss.
That is an absolute cracking shot from Ben Martindale. It is beautiful. He hits his first boundary in T20 cricket for the Outlaws. Wow, what a way to hit your first boundary. Beautiful shot.
Drilled through extra cover. Cam Fletcher's fetched the ball from the William Clark stand, brought it all the way back, and then thrown it to the bowler and missed him by a country mile. He's not having a good start, Cam Fletcher. He's shy at the stumps, missed by a long way, and he can't even lob it from hand to hand here without the ball going to ground. There's Dupavilon in again. Bouncer pulled away by Martindale. Not totally in control there, I don't think, but he'll get a single. There was nobody at square leg where it would have been a comfortable catch. Instead, the man out in the deep was able to come in off the rope and restrict them to 1. Didn't properly get hold of that, I don't think.
No, he didn't. I think it's just rushed him a tad. Dupavilon is quite a slippery character. It looks a good wicket tonight, and I think that one just zipped off the surface a little bit more, hit Martindale quite high up on the bat, and it hasn't carried out to deep square, but I think it did rush him, Dave.
Notts are 18 without loss. Final ball of the second over. Dupavilon bowls now to Joe Clark, and nicely played again past the diving Patel through the offside, and I think there's enough juice on that to go for 4. There is indeed. Some lovely stroke play here from Ben Martindale and from Joe Clark. Clark goes on to 15, Martindale 7, 22 without loss here on BBC Radio Nottingham. The derby between Notts Outlaws and Derbyshire Falcons. If you were with me, I don't know, 20-25 minutes or so ago, when I was talking to David Jackson, just sort of previewing and giving the team news and news of the toss, I was saying the ground at that stage was only about half full. You have to say, Kyle, it's filled up considerably, and at the end of both the first over and this over now, you can see more people being let into the stands. Does look not full, it's not jam-packed full, but it's certainly the largest home crowd we've had this season by quite some distance. It
is. It's nice to see, whether that's the weather's brought the crowd in or the fact that it is the really big derby and the fans know that they need to cheer over the Outlaws.
A little bit of everything. Here's Zach Chappell then from the pavilion end, the Stuart Broad end, bowls to Ben Martindale, takes the pace off it straight away, and Martindale, it's incorrect of me to say, he was flummoxed by that one, but he certainly had to readjust, and did appear that only at the last second he sort of got the telegram that it was a slower ball. He pushed it into the offside. Joe Clark comes all the way down to have a little word with the 21-year-old, born in Nottingham, son of Duncan Martindale. He used to play for Notts. This is short and pulled away by Martindale onto the leg side again. That leg side pull not quite working for him at the moment. Mistimes it out to Whiteley, and they get a single.
Again, Martindale just not quite getting all of that pull shot. A little bit more in control than the Dupavel on one. Didn't quite get up as high, that ball, but still hits him quite high on the bat. Ticks along nicely though. This is a nice start from the Outlaws. 23 for no loss. They're going along at a good rate to Notts here.
There's Zach Chappell in again, and Joe Clark mistimes a pull. Away from home, Derbyshire have had the problems this year. They've lost all 3 of their away matches at Yorkshire, at Headingley, at Old Trafford, and what's the other one? At Northants as well. So will it be 4th time lucky? This one's cut to backward point. Again out to Ross Whiteley. Spears in a left arm throw into the gloves of wicketkeeper Brooke Guest. Single taken. Clark on to 16 from 7 balls. Ben Martindale 8 from 9.
You watch much of Duncan when he played?
Yes, yeah, a little bit. Of course, famously he was at the other end when Derek Randall tried to score 18 off an over in the Lord's final. This is pulled away by Martindale, gets a boundary, his second boundary. Lifted this over wideish mid-on, sort of dragged it again a little bit to that shorter side. Gets a boundary. Explosive start. Nice to see one of the youngsters getting a go. Another one, Sammy King, is in the squad, or was in the name squad for this game, so he is clearly being thought of, being considered. Zach Chappell in once more. Bowls to Martindale, drives it down the ground. That's his cleanest shot. That was brutally crisp, straight down over Chappell's head for 4. That's a mighty blow. 16 from 11 now. Sorry, Dunk, if you're listening. Ben Martindale. 32 without loss after 3. This is a fine start from the Outlaws.
It's a great start from the Outlaws, and Ben Martindale, I've seen it firsthand. I've played against him, how strong he is off that front foot. He certainly looks a very, very good player in T20 cricket at this level at the moment. Some fantastic shots. Very nice start. We're going to see Pat Brown introduced into the attack from the Radcliffe Road end, so lots of chopping and changing from Samet.
Yeah, another former blast winner with Worcestershire. He also got 3 wickets in that demolition 2 weeks ago. 3 for 17 as Notts were bowled out for just 102. Here's Pat Brown. Has played white ball cricket for England, but his first ball is just caressed away by Clark through the leg side for 4. Former Worcestershire bowler bowling to former Worcestershire batter, and Joe Clark with another lovely shot moves on to 20. I was going to tell you the score then, but it must be 36 with Outlaws, because it was 32 at the end of the previous over. But the screen full of replays for all those inside the ground, which again I repeat, filling up all the time, which is good to see.
Joe Clark just caressing it around. Really looks like he's got his timing spot on.
He's on 20 from 8. Brown bowls all down the leg side. Pat Brown's radar went awry then. Full programme of matches this evening in both the North and the South group. Adam Hassel, the interval of this one, and later on we'll bring you up to speed with what's happening everywhere. And of course there's a World Cup match going on between England and South Africa.
I was just waiting for a comment, Dave. I was waiting for a little remark.
There's Pat Brown. England having it all to do with 4 overs to go, as this is pushed to backward point by Joe Clark. 38 without loss. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. In respect of everybody who's maybe recording that, or recording the football, or even recording some of the other Blast games this evening to watch later. I won't mention the scores. I'll leave it all down to Adam Hassel at half-time. I'll leave it to yourself to follow what's going on the BBC Sport website and app. Here's Pat Brown now to bowl to Martindale on 16. Backs away and then hits this up in the air. And this might be the end of Martindale. And it's been safely pouched. It was nicely taken by Cam Fletcher. Samit Patel runs towards him and Pat Brown's got a wicket. Martindale out for 16. He's gone better than a run of ball at the top of the order. 16 from 12, hit 3 fours in there with 38 on the board. Notts have lost their first wicket, the left-handed Martindale, caught by Cam Fletcher running backwards at mid-off out of the circle, running out towards the fence. Judged it nicely, took the catch, the bowler Pat Brown, and Martindale has gone for 16.
Just Ben Martindale looking to give himself a little bit of room, and Pat Brown just digging this one into the surface, and Martindale just trying to overcorrect and hit it straight as a flat batted shot, and it's just gone up in the air. And quite right, Dave, Cam Fletcher's made up quite a bit of ground running out the ground, running out the 30-yard circle and taking a catch over the shoulder. They're never easy. Brings Alex Hales to the crease.
Yep, I've seen him bat 3 in the past, but not very often. 35 years of age now, 5th on the all-time list of run scorers worldwide in T20 cricket, behind the likes of Chris Gale and Shoaib Malik, Kieran Pollard, and Virat Kohli is about 400 runs behind Virat Kohli in 5th spot. And as we mentioned just before the match started, this is the final time we'll see him, certainly this season, unless Notts make it through to the knockouts, which at the moment looks a little bit of a long shot. Brown bowls and Hales away first ball, just opening the face and cutting it out to deep backward point for a single. 39 for 1. Clearly he'll be seen back at Trent Bridge a little later on in the summer, playing in the 100 for the Trent Rockets, but a year from now, well, who knows. It'd be a shame if he didn't sort of go out with a fanfare where everybody knew it was his last match, but it's his last match of this engagement, as Brown bowls and Clark drives beautifully, but Fletcher will slide and cut it off, so it's only a single. 40 for 1. Another thing we've got to look out for as well is if Alex Hales can clear the ropes twice this evening, because he's on 498 sixes in this format, and again there's only 5 players that have hit more or hit 500.
It would be really nice for him to pick that up and Trent Bridge this evening, wouldn't it?
He's on strike. Pat Brown bowls to him, and again, similarly to his first scoring shot, he's opened the face and run it out. A little bit finer this time, but it's still only 1 to deep backward point. He'll keep the strike. We've had 4 overs here at Trent Bridge, and Notts are 41 for 1. 9 runs and a wicket from that Pat Brown over, including the wide that he sent down a little early on. A getting together in the middle there between Hales and Clark. Obviously they know each other very well. They've been reunited, and they also know this fella pretty well, because Samit Patel's coming on to bowl.
Once again, another change in bowling from Samit, and he brings himself on. And this is a bit weird to see Samit Patel in Notts colours. There's a mixed reception, we will call it. A few boos and a few cheers for the former outlaw who makes his return.
Yeah, played 232 of these T20 matches for Notts. He was in the first season in 2003. This one's been hit out to deep mid-wicket by Hales, and they'll come back for a couple. 43 for 1. Pretty much everywhere you look, Samit Patel's up the top of appearances and wickets and all sorts of things in the Blast. Oh, has he got a wicket in? Not quite. Hales was squared up, loops away on the offside and just managed to evade the fielder, and Patel and Hales just having a little word there.
Fantastic change of pace. He's just gone very slow there. Hales early leading edge.
That might have been the last we'd have seen of Samit Patel had he got Alex Hales out with that one. He'd have gone running off with his celebrations, and as I say, we might not have seen him again. 44 for 1, completely bamboozled Hales. Clark Just plays this one with respect out to deep mid-wicket, and they get a single. 45 for 1. Member, of course, of the Notts T20 Blast winning sides in both 2017, yes, and 2020. It was man of the match in the 2017 final. It was man of the match in the 2013 Lords final. Only player to be man of the match in both of those. Another single taken here by Hales. Terrific servant for Nottinghamshire cricket, but the club decided it was time to move on at the end of last year, and as we've heard from Samit, still felt he had more to give. Skippering Derbyshire now as Clark hits it on the bounce back to him, and Alex Hales has to just turn and dive back to make his ground. 46 for 1. 1 ball left in the 5th over. Patel's gone for 5 in this one. Clark down on one knee, and he's been dropped as Joe Clark. It was a really good effort at behind square leg by Alex Thompson. Flung himself to his right, and Patel should have picked up the first wicket there. The over only went for 6. It's 47 for 1. Joe Clark down again on one knee, slog sweeping Patel, and I guess the positives from Derbyshire are that it saved 3 runs. They managed to get a single, but he got both hands to it, and then it spilled away. Let's see what happens as this game evolves a little further now in the company of Carl van Vollenhoven.
Would have been a good catch by Alex Thompson, but you're 100% right, Dave. He'll feel that got 2 hands to it and should have caught it, and Joe Clark is not the man that you want to give more than one life to. We're going to see the return of Darren de Pavilon, the South African quick. He's going to be bowling to Joe Clark. De Pavilon, who wears the number 8, he really does sprint in, goes full, and Joe Clark says thank you, that's 4. He's caressed that through the covers. De Pavilon over pitching again with his first ball, like he did to Ben Martindale. This time Joe Clark says that's 4 runs. Beautiful shot.
Yeah, that's the 50 up for Notts. Final over of the power play. Important they make the most of this one.
It really is. They've gone along really, really nicely here, and Joe Clark has looked in sublime touch. He hasn't really played a shot in anger just yet. Adds a bit of insult to injury after being dropped the ball before. It's De Pavilon in, and Joe Clark this time just pushing it out to cover, this time for a dot ball. It always seems to happen, doesn't it? Drop catch, and then the next ball goes for 4.
Yeah.
It's just so frustrating. I think that would have just added insult to injury for Samit Patel. But Joe Clark lives to fight another day, and there's a little bit of interest now from everyone in the ground. Everyone seems to be really awake and ready as De Pavilon in, and Joe Clark hits this again down the ground, this time for a dot ball again as Zach Chappell does the fielding. It's really nice to see Trent Bridge full, and it's really nice to see the weather good on a Friday night for the first time in a long, long time.
It's not full. There are plenty of seats, but it's certainly the largest crowd we've had for one of the Blast games this season.
Most certainly, and it's hopefully here to see a bit of fireworks. De Pavilon into Joe Clark, and Joe Clark slams us through the covers again. Beautiful shot, over pitched by Darren De Pavilon, and Joe Clark clearing the front leg out the way, slaps this through extra cover for 4 more. The Outlaws are 55 for 1.
Really does look right in the groove this evening. Thus far, Joe Clark. Of course, this pair at the crease now, Clark and Hales, have contributed between them 4 of the 6 centuries that Notts have scored in this competition over the years. Only 6. Dan Christian and Ricky Vessels, the other 2 players to reach 3 figures.
This is driven down the ground. It's going to be another dot ball. Joe Clark is striking it absolutely brilliantly this evening. Just looks so effortless, doesn't it, Dave? It's not trying to force it. It's just real timing and It's just so good to see Clark at his fluent best at the minute.
Looks a belter of a wicket.
It really does. It's got that real shine that the good wickets seem to have. So used to seeing it, Trent Bridge. You do sometimes take it for granted. Blessed with very, very beautiful ground here in Nottingham. Pavlon in, goes short to Joe Clark, and Joe Clark's got an inside edge. It's going to beat fine leg and it's going to go for 4, and it's a really expensive over. Over's gone for 12. The end of the power play, the Outlaws move to 59 for 1.
Yes, he got a little bit fortunate there, but Notts will take them while they can get them. Must be warm out there, warm sticky evening, because at the end of the power play both Alex Hales and Joe Clark just summoning some bottles of water and change of gloves and a towel being brought out. Sammy King and looks like Freddie McCann with the orange vests on, delivering the towels and the drinks. Going to be Zach Chappell. His first over went for 10 from the Stuart Broad end, and that's where we'll find him for this 7th over now, with Derbyshire able just to relax the field settings.
Zach Chappell, fielders on the boundary, a long on, deep mid-wicket, deep square, fine leg and sweeper. This one is cut between short third man and backward point, and it's gone for 4. Alex Hales joins Joe Clark's boundary fest and picks up a boundary. He moves to 6. This is a real fantastic start for the Outlaws. They move to 63 for 1.
Chappell's quick, nobody's ever doubted that, but that was just short and wide, wasn't it? It was just served up really for somebody of Hale's height, and more importantly there with that one, reach, just able to cut it away for 4.
This time Zach Chappell goes a little bit straighter, pace off, and Hale's just tapping it into the leg side for a single. Cam Fletcher running around to do the fielding to keep it down to 1. I don't know about you, Dave, but I was really impressed with Alex Hales' temperament that he played at Worcestershire. I thought he was really good, a really mature knock, and a very, very important one, getting the team over the line.
Yeah, a week ago at New Road, we could see the rain coming. That's timed it just right.
Chappell down the leg side, and Clark flicking this off the hip. Down to Thompson at fine leg for a single.
Of course, this is the 8th match of 14, but after this one there's a little bit of a break for all the counties to play 2 county championship matches. Notts are back here on Sunday, the start of a home 4-day match against Somerset. Then they go to Southport to play Lancashire before coming back here. The Blast resumes 2 weeks tonight.
Chappell in full to Hales, who's flicking this one out to mid-wicket for a single.
Notts have got Leicestershire Foxes. What's the umpire just the far end? Just looked like Graham Lloyd was standing there with his arm outstretched.
I also thought he was about to say no ball, maybe just making sure that they've got the number of balls bowled correct. Been 4 balls bowled, this time short, and Joe Clark hitting this one out to Pat Brown on the mid-wicket boundary for a single.
In fact, it's Steve O'Shaughnessy at the far end, at the bowler's end. Both similar in height. Derbyshire just bringing long leg up inside the circle now and pushing mid off deep.
Should be quite full and straight from Chappell. Nobody goes short, and a bit of a double bluff, and it's pulled out to long on. They're only going to get 1. It's good fielding out there by Nye Donald to keep it to 1. The end of the 7th over, the Outlaws are 68 for 1. 9 coming off that one.
Where will you be entertaining your fans tomorrow in the Notts Premier League?
I don't know about entertaining. Maybe death by misery. We're going to Plumtree tomorrow, so I do like that ground. It's got cows all around it, and I'm a big fan of those. So especially when I'm playing there, so this is a nice ground. So we're away at Plumtree tomorrow. The mighty Woollerton. We've got Samad Patel changing in from the Radcliffe Road, and he's going to be into Alex Hales, who's respecting a very well bowled delivery from Patel.
This is good because we're right behind Samet's arm here, aren't we?
It's a fantastic angle. Patel in again, and Alex Hales slapping this one out to cover for a single. You getting your umpiring fingers ready, Dave, this weekend?
No, I shall avoid that at all costs, but I shall go down and have a look. I shall be at, I think Cornton are playing Thrumpton in the South Notts tomorrow, so we'll go on down there and have a little look.
Patel in again, and this one pushed to short extra cover for a dot ball. They're not roped you into umpiring.
I've avoided all
turned off all communication.
all approaches, yeah.
Patel in full wide, and Joe Clark just pushing this one out into the offside for a single. How many games a season do you think you umpire?
1.
No more.
No more.
You've done your duty then.
Yep.
Fair enough. And I quite love to rock up and see Dave Bracegirdle umpiring me as this one from Alex Hales is pushed along on for a single. Would you give me any LVW decisions?
You?
Yeah.
No. If you don't know which way you're turning, how on earth would I?
It's all a guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I can just imagine you triggering me as well.
No, not at all.
Patel in, this one full and slapped at short extra cover from Joe Clark for a dot ball, and that's quite a tidy over. 3 from it from Samet Patel. The Outlaws are 71 for 1 after 8.
Yeah, it's a pretty good start for Notts Outlaws from this point, 71 from 8. Obviously a lot of work to do, but from here, nicely set, put a good score on the board. Clearly they want one of this pair to bat through. That's something that more often than not hasn't happened this year. Both nicely in now, and if they're still there at the end of the 8th over, you'd want one of them certainly to go very deep into the innings. Jack Haynes listed at 4, Tom Moore's another left-hander, of course, Matthew Montgomery, Lyndon James complete the top 7. And it's going to be Ross Whiteley again, the man who's only brought out of mothballs whenever he faces Notts.
He did have an absolutely cracker of a game a fortnight ago. There's going to be around the wicket here to Alex Hales. Ross Whiteley wearing number 44 goes very full to Alex Hales, who's pushing this out to mid-wicket for a single. Picked up 3 for split and 44 off 16 that day. If he has half as good a return this evening, it'll be a decent night for Ross Whiteley. Joe Clark 39 off 24, Alex Hales 16 off 13, building a very nice little platform to launch from. So Whiteley in, goes wide. Joe Clark opening the face and guiding this one out to the extra cover sweeper, but they can only get through for a single.
That is the problem, of course. If you're not doing much bowling, you are going to drop in the odd loose delivery, and he got away with that one there, really. It was a wide, loopy full toss that Clark slammed away into the offside, but straight to the fielder. He only got 1, whereas may well have disappeared over the ropes.
Ross Whiteley again wide. Alex Hales does well to reach it and hits it out to long off for a single. That's the weird plan with going wide Yorkers, so to say, to the short offside boundary, which is the Smith-Cooper stand.
Samet Patel, his skipper, enjoyed it though. He gave him a good round of applause. Whiteley's the 6th bowler to be used already.
So far 3 singles this over. This time goes straight, looks like pace off again from Whiteley, and Joe Clark just opening the face and guiding it to short third man, and they scamper through for a quick single. 75 for 1. Listening on BBC Radio Nottingham. If you weren't with us earlier, Joe Clark won the toss and elected to bat this evening at what is a really lovely day at Trent Bridge. Reasonably full house this evening for the Derby. This one full and driven down the ground for a single. Absolutely walloped that as Alex Hales, but on the one bounce to long on, and again another single.
Yeah, I think it was bottom of the bat. It turned it into a low full toss, didn't it? So he wasn't able to get underneath it and give it the proper elevation he would have wanted to blast it high into the pavilion.
If Derbyshire do get over the line tonight and results go their way, they could find themselves third by the end of the evening, as this one's flicked away from Joe Clark and over the top for 6. Well, I tell you what, it was touch and go. I was on the edge of my seat. I didn't quite know if he got all of it. Joe Clark walked down the wicket. Ross Whiteley followed him and he flicked it over the leg side, and deep square leg was interested for quite some time. He was off the boundary a little bit, had to backpedal, but it ended up travelling all the way and it went for 6. Joe Clark picks up a lovely little boundary there to finish the over. The Outlaws are 82 for 1.
Yeah, Joe Clark up to 47, really going nicely. Hasn't had a half century yet in this season's competition. Don't want to jinx him. Started out with 48 here against Northampton in the first game, but then had, by his standards, a relatively modest sequence of scores. Pat Brown's coming back.
Went for 9 in this first over, picks up a wicket. The only wicket to fall so far this evening of Ben Martindale, who got 16 in his second game, but his first game batting in T20 cricket. Looked quite good for that 16. A couple of nice little shots. It's the second time this evening that Pat Brown has been ready to go and Alex Hales has just held him back, not letting him rush him. Pat Brown, where's the number 36? Goes short, wide, and not quite sure why Alex Hales has hit that. He probably could have left that and asked Pat Brown to reload, but cuts it out to sweeper for a single. Pat Brown, the former Worcestershire Rapid, come across to the Falcons. A different sort of look to them, to the Derbyshire Falcons this season under the skip of Samba Patel. As this one's guided by Joe Clark straight to third man. He's standing his ground. I don't think Joe Clark thinks that's carried, but he's been given out. He has been given out by Graham Lloyd, and he's really not happy. He's busy saying it hasn't carried. Well, he's fuming, isn't he? Joe Clark is absolutely fuming here, and Samba Patel's just saying, you've got to go. Joe Clark's tried to reverse scoop it. It's gone to third man. Joe Clark obviously feels that it is not carried. Dupavalon says he has caught it cleanly, and there's a bit of verbals now from Whiteley specifically to Joe Clark. Joe Clark looks absolutely livid. But he's got to go for a very well played knock. What do you make of that, Dave?
Oh, too far away. I've just missed the replay as well. I've got a monitor in here, but
let's play that again, please.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. The umpires were absolutely adamant. So were the Worcestershire players, and obviously Joe Clark saw it another way. But you don't very often get the umpire changing his mind, and that was never going to happen. But Ross Whiteley coming across, he was a former Worcestershire teammate of Joe Clark as well. I don't think it would have been words. I think it would have just been, "Don't get yourself in trouble, mate." I can only imagine that would have been the sort of conversation. New man is another former Worcestershire player. They're everywhere. Jack Haynes.
Jack Haynes comes to the crease at 4. Scored a 50 debut for the Outlaws. It's looked a tidy little play in the T20 Blasters. Pat Brown once again has a false start. He's picked up the only 2 wickets this evening. He's 2 for 10. Jack Haynes awaits a Rapids teammate as this one's cut away, and he's going to get off the mark with a boundary first ball, I think. He is indeed. This one's short and wide from Pat Brown, and Jack Haynes beats Samit Patel to his left at extra cover, and he picks up a boundary. And the Outlaws move to 87 for 2 now, and that is a nice start. Nice way to get off the mark, Jack Haynes.
Lovely shot indeed. He's Not's leading scorer in the competition, only 118 runs, top score of 51.
Brown in again, and this one defended by Haynes. Back to Pat Brown for a dot ball. These two obviously would have played a lot of cricket together. Down in New Road before they both made the journey up to the East Midlands. One to Derbyshire, one to Nottinghamshire. Just a change in the field here from Pat Brown. Square leg or deep square leg is coming up into the ring to square leg, and point has now gone out. Third man has also come up, so changing field, and this one slower ball from Pat Brown. He is really known for them, and back foot punch out to sweeper for a single from Jack Haynes. This has a little bit of a joke with Pat Brown. I knew what you were going to bowl there, Pat. I know you too well. You've bowled those to me in the net for years. Really is interesting seeing so many teammates move around and know everyone's tricks of the trade now. Alex Hales on strike, and Samit Patel does the fielding at extra cover. Get through for a single though. The end of the 10th, at the halfway stage, the Outlaws find themselves 89 for 2 after losing Joe Clark to Pat Brown that over. Nice little platform here, even I can get the math right. They're going at 8.9 runs to the over. Alex Hales is set quite nicely on 20, and the arrival of Jack Haynes to the crease is on 5.
Yeah, Notts haven't scored above 154 in any of the matches so far. They'll be absolutely desperately sick if they can't do that from this position. 89 for 2 at the halfway stage. Would hope to, with 8 wickets in hand, hope to get the best part of another 100 on the board if they can. A lot of that will depend on whether Hales is there or not. He's on strike on 20 from just 7 balls as Thompson comes back into the attack, and his first ball has just been helped away by Hales for a boundary. Didn't really go at it with too much aggression there. He just knew there was nobody down at long legs, and again just with those long levers went down and helped it on its way.
Really is a good shot by Alex Hales, because he's hit that over 45 and ball was pitching on middle. It's an extraordinary cricket shot from Alex Hales. 93
for 2. Here's Thompson in again. Alex to Alex, and the Alex in the gold shirt nudges it down to long on for a single. 94 for 2. Jack Haynes off the mark with the boundary. He's now on 5. Where's squad number 30? Brooke Guest is the wicket keeper, standing up of course with the off spinner in action, and Haynes this time with the slog sweep gets a single. 95 for 2. Men out Ben Martindale for 16, Joe Clark for 47, both falling to Pat Brown. Next delivery sees Hales leave his crease, nudge it straight to Patel, and then Hales had to quickly regain his ground because Samit Patel whipping it in with his right arm. Again, that's one thing that has befuddled me for many years as Hales again drives down the ground for a single. He's not the only one, there's a few others around the county circuit, but Samit bowls left arm, throws right arm, and I've never quite been able to get my head around that. 96 for 2. Thompson bowls reverse from Haynes. He's missed out.
Unlucky.
Doesn't
really
get
unlucky.
a run. End of the 11th. 96 for 2.
Really unlucky by Jack Haynes. Samit Patel was at mid-wicket, which meant that there was only 1 point in. Well, Jack Haynes has found him if he was looking for him. It's a dot ball. It brings Samit Patel back in to the attack.
Yeah, 5 players have had 2 overs. Thompson, Dupavelon, Chappell, Brown and Patel. And we had that 1 over which went for 11 from Ross Whiteley. The 12th over will be bowled from this end, the Radcliffe Road end. And it will be Samit Patel wearing those elasticated sleeves for a little bit of support to the elbows. Bowls, and Hales rocking forward, defends this one. Alex Hales, 26 from 22 balls faced. He's not quite at his straps yet. He's not reached top gear. Patel bowls, and Patel hits this one down the ground, and this will be caught down below us by Nye Donald, and Patel does celebrate, goes on a little run, and Hales has to go for 26. And we wonder, will we see Alex Hales in the Outlaws colours here again next season? Alex Hales caught Donald, bowled Patel 26, and Samit Patel just couldn't hide his enjoyment of getting rid of his old teammate. 96 for 3.
This one tossed up a little bit slow and a little bit wider, and Alex Hale's looking to hit this down the ground in the air, clear the ropes, and fortunately he's held out. And unfortunately, we've seen it many times. We've seen the Samit Patel shuffle, as I like to call it, running around, but this time in Falcons colours. Alex Hale's got to go for 26. The Outlaws are 96 for 3.
Massive blow. So Notts have got to find some middle order runs, and they've been in short supply. One of the reasons that Notts have found themselves at the bottom of the table, 5 straight defeats before the watery points they gained last weekend in the Duckworth-Lewis win over Worcestershire, and then the 1 point for the abandonment against Durham. They've been desperately short of middle order runs. Here's Tom Moores in at 5, left-hander. Patel bowls to him, and Moores will work it away for a single. Tom Moores scores in this competition this year, 9-6, 20 not out, 17 at Derby. He was a joint top scorer that night. That's how poor Notts were. 16 and 5 not out for Tom Moores. Haynes hits Patel out towards Whiteley. The sliding Whiteley makes the stop. Really good stuff from Ross Whiteley. Again, a really inspired bit of fielding. That's going to lift his teammates. Gets again a huge round of applause from his captain, and it's 98 for 3. Patel in quickly to Tom Moores down the leg side. Did it brush the bat or the pad? They take a single. 99 for 3. It is a leg by.
Waits with bated breath as we look at the umpire.
That's the first extra of the innings. 99 for 3. Haynes steps into this one from Patel, out into the offside. So with the final ball of the 12th over, Notts bring up 3 figures. 100 for 3 after 12. Samit Patel doing a good job. 3 overs, 1 for 12.
Fantastic, Samit Patel. He's gone for 3 off that, but 4 for the overs. There was a leg by. He just always seems to do it. I beg your pardon. Big match player, as Dave mentioned earlier. 2 man of the match performances in 2 finals. He really will relish the opportunity to be able to potentially do the double over the Outlaws. We're going to see Alex Thompson continue from the Stuart Broad end. He's going to be going to Jack Haynes.
Yeah, the sun has just intensified a little bit. We had a little bit of cloud cover, but now the sun has forced its way through, and what that means is that Graham Lloyd, the umpire who was standing at square leg, has decided to trot over to point because he couldn't see looking into the sun. Thompson bowls on the leg side, and Jack Haynes, sure he'll feel he's missed out there as it's hit out to David Lloyd, and they just get a single. That should have been walloped into the middle of next week, shouldn't it?
Half tracker again by Thompson, and Haynes just helped it around the corner instead of helping it into my living room just on the other side of Fox Road.
Trent Bridge looking a picture. 101 for 3. Looks to be rammed in the Derek Randall suite over there. I'm sure there's plenty of hospitality going on in there. This is nudged out as far as Patel, and there's no runs. The Hound Road stand, actually the one stand, well, maybe at the front row. See just a handful of empty seats. This one's missed by Tom Moores, goes through to his opposite number as wicketkeeper Brooke Guest. Again, it was wide of the mark, and Tom Moores chased after it, couldn't get anything on it.
Again, another plan here from Thompson to go wide.
Comes in again. Tom Moores a little push into the gap on the offside and runs. Single taken. 102 for 3. Moores has 2. Haynes has 9. The men out. Martindale for 16. Joe Clark for 47. And Alex Hales for 26. Joe Clark certainly didn't agree with the decision to give him out. Low full toss, and Haynes has maybe hit this too quickly down to long on. In fact, Tom Moores is so quick, he just turned and came back. Good running from the Notts wicket-keeper there to turn a certain 1 into a comfortable 2 in the end. Did really well. 104 for 3. Haynes on to 11 from 9. Thompson bowls again, and a repeat. Now, can they get another 2? Tom Moores will again turn and come back.
It's great running.
Yeah. You'd have had a shilling on the nose there with him running at Ascot this afternoon. Speed like that. Couple more runs at the end of the over. 106 for 3 after 13, the Outlaws.
Nice little passage of play for the Falcons in the last 3 overs. 10 from those last 3. So we're going to have Pat Brown board into the attack. Nice little bit of running in the last over from these two. They are really quick between the wickets. What can they do? Can they just tip knots over the line here? They'll be looking at 170, 180. It looks an absolute belter this evening at Trent Bridge.
Yeah, Notts have got to increase their boundary count as well. 12 fours and just 2 Joe Clark sixes in the first 13 overs. Pat Brown is going to bowl his third over, 2 for 16 his figures. He's bowling to Moores, who's on a couple, and well, he's got very, very lucky here, but doesn't matter. 4 runs to Tom Moores. It was a full straight delivery. Tom Moores prodded at it and it just flew off the outside edge through probably where about third slip would be, and with third man wide and up inside the circle, it just raced away for 4 runs. Very, very welcome runs indeed. Here on BBC Radio Nottingham.
I'll take them any way they come at this stage, Dave. Boundaries are boundaries, and it's a nice start to the over. 4 off the first ball. We're looking to capitalise here.
Brown in again to Moores, who's on 6, and the slower ball from Pat Brown. That's nicely bowled. It just went past the bat, slower delivery, and then it zigzagged its way through to Brooke Guest. We're online as well on the BBC Sport website and app. We're on the club's live stream. I'd imagine we've enticed 1 or 2 Derbyshire followers to watch that as well. You're very welcome. And you're enjoying the coverage from Trent Bridge on a sunny evening here. The local derby, 110 for 3, short from Brown, pulled away by Tom Moores for a single. That's going to take the score on to Nelson, so feet off the ground if you're the superstitious sort. Do they have Nelson in South Africa? Is that a recognised superstition?
It is a recognised superstition. I remember when I was growing up and I was young, they used to make everybody do it. Everyone used to have to sit there, feet up, very, very nervous at this stage.
111 for 3, Haynes on strike on 13. Brown bowls to him, and Jack Haynes has missed out on that one, but we'll get another single up to former Glamorgan and Hampshire player Nye Donald, who took the catch to dismiss Hales.
Where do you think Nelson came from, Dave?
How
long do you think... I'm not quite sure about this, which I'll ask. How long ago has Nelson been going around for now? I know who he is, but why the superstition about him?
Battle of Trafalgar, 112 for 3. Short and down the leg side, and Brooke Guest can't quite get there. And they'll get a single. Well, in battle, he lost a leg and an eye. No, an arm and an eye. Mistakenly, I think some people think he lost a leg as well. So they always say the 3 ones on the board. Admiral Nelson from the Battle of Trafalgar, perhaps spouting absolute nonsense here, but one leg, 1 arm, 1 eye, which in itself is incorrect, but it's been a little bit of a cricket saying for as long as I've watched the game.
That's what I heard.
Even though it's incorrect. As Brown comes into Haynes, back to reality.
Oh, wow.
And the reality here is that that's a lovely shot, but it's going to be cut off down below us by Nye Donald, who not only makes a tumble turn, gets up and spears the ball back in. They get a couple of runs. 14 gone, 115 for 3 is the Outlaws score. They won the toss, opted to bat first, and will be hoping to avenge their defeat to Derbyshire. Their first one in T20 cricket against the Falcons for 9 years. Derbyshire last beating Notts before the win a couple of weeks ago in 2015. Their last win here was in 2013. Notts have won the last 9 completed matches here between the two sides. A couple were washed away, 2018 and 2019, but the 9 completed matches since Derbyshire's last win in 2013 have gone the way of the side in green and gold. Alex Thompson to bowl out, 3 overs, none for 24, his figures. And Tom Moores has hit this briskly out into the offside, and a slight misfield there, and they'll get a single. Who's that out there? Is that Cam Fletcher? Single taken. to Moores.
I think it's Pat Brown because he's got that black arm sleeve across his right arm.
117 for 3 in the 15th over. Got back for 2 actually. Next ball to Moores, and he's lifted this up and over and gets 4. Just couldn't have placed it much better, but just for a second I just wondered if it might be interesting. David Lloyd, who was at backward point, but it was a good 6 feet over his head and away for the boundary. So not starting this 15th over with a couple of nice shots from Moores, who looks eager, looks hungry. He's gone to 14 from 11. Thompson in again to Tom Moores, and again he'll punch it into the offside, but straight to Samet. I think there might have been a run there, had they both gone for it. Samet Patel had to move 6 or 8 paces to his right to cut that off. I think they probably could have got a run. Partnership worth 25 from 19, make that 26 from 20 now as Moores leans into this one and plays it safely along the ground. Out to Pat Brown, correctly identified by Carl van Wallenhoven a minute or two ago. 122 for 3 knots. Can they have a really good final 5 overs, something they've not had in any match this season. This one's drilled back to the bowler by Haynes, who's been starved of the strike a little bit. One boundary for Jack Haynes, that was from his first ball. Thompson then to finish. Bowls now, and Haynes just tucks it onto the leg side. Moores has gone the first one quickly and will come back for 2. In comes a pretty strong return to the non-striker's end, but Moores just too quick, and that's the end of the 15th over. 124 for 3. It's interestingly poised here. Don't know what will be a good score. As I said, looks a good wicket, so if that powerful Derbyshire top order of Nye Donald, David Lloyd, Cam Fletcher, Wayne Madsen, Samet Patel, Ross Whiteley-Brook, yes, they keep on coming, don't they? 1 or 2 of those get going. Notts might not have anywhere near enough yet. Need some more from this 5 overs. Let's see what Kyle can commentate on as Samet Patel returns to bowl his 4th and final over.
Firstly, you've been watching Royal Ascot, haven't you? With announcement like that, as Sam Patel's in and low full toss to Tom Moores, who drives us down the ground to long on. Cam Fletcher does the fielding and the tidying up. Be interesting to see who does come in next. If we'll see the potential arrival of Liam Patterson-White and the fireworks that he showed against Lancashire Lightning. He's obviously had a chance with the Willows since then. Sam Patel to Jack Haynes, who's going up and over extra cover, but has he picked out the man? He has. It's a very good running around catch by Cam Fletcher. Jack Haynes, who was shuffling around the crease a little bit, gave himself a tad of room, tried to hit it over extra cover, but because he's hit it so high, he's allowed Cam Fletcher to run around to his left. I thought he had just misjudged it, but he takes a good catch in the end. Jack Haynes has got to go for 18. The Outlaws are now 1-2-5 for 4.
Yeah, we've seen that on the Trembridge scoreboard a few times in the past. Caught Fletcher, bowled Patel. It's not Luke Fletcher though, it's Cam Fletcher getting his 2nd catch of the evening. Another blow for Notts, just when they wanted somebody who'd just been there for 10 or 15 minutes and just had a little bit of a look, got used to the pace of the wicket and was just starting to accelerate through the gears, and then Jack Haynes went for one big shot and he's gone for 18. So they've all had starts, 47-16, 26 and 18, the 4 to be dismissed. Here's Matthew Montgomery coming in at 6. Has got all sorts of shots, and straight away Patel has put 2 there for the reverse sweep. You know that Matt Montgomery loves that shot, and so does Samet.
Matthew Montgomery, Sam Patel, and right on cue has reverse sweeped him. And he's swept him for 4. Beautiful. Wow.
I don't know if that's good cricket or bad cricket from either Notts or Derbyshire. There's 2 men there to stop the reverse sweep. So is it bad cricket to go for the shot? Is it bad cricket from Derbyshire that they weren't in the right place? Is it brilliant from Matthew Montgomery? Yes, of course it is. And Patel will be spitting feathers that he knew what was coming and it still happened.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant from Matthew Montgomery. Brilliantly executed reverse sweep, and now this is the field I thought they would employ, with a deep backward point and 2 covers rather than a backward point and a short third man and a sweeper. So it's got a field change. There's Matthew Montgomery. Patel in, and Monty decides to sweep again. This time finds short third man. Well, Dave, you were 100% right. Montgomery's faced 2 balls. He's reverse swept both of them. He's 5 off 2. The Outlaws are 130 for 4. Looking to beat their best score so far in the T20 Blast of 154, which they got in the opening game here against the Steelbacks. Patel wearing his famous number 21 to Tom Moores, who's hit this down the ground, and I think he's hit it for 6. He has hit it for 6. Fletcher was interested. He was diving away, sprawling to his right, and it's gone for 6. Tom Moores, it's a great shot. It's a brave shot. It was a needed boundary. They need to keep going. He slammed this down the ground for 6. Oof, it was close to Cam Fletcher. It was very close to Cam Fletcher. He was diving away to his right. If he had caught it, though, I don't know if he would have been able to stay inside the field of play. Moores moves to 22 off 15. Tom Moores this time sweeps, and a very, very big appeal, but not given. Brooke Guest was the only one interested. At the end of the 16th over, the Notts Outlaws are 1-3-7 for 4.
Yeah, Samit Patel finishes 2 for 24. He'll be delighted with that. Picked up a couple of his former teammates, Alex Hales, and well, of course, Jack Haynes wasn't a former teammate. Haynes came in during the winter. By then Samit had been released, but the big one of Alex Hales, that will have brought a lot of joy to Samit Patel at this stage of the evening. 137 for 4, so Patel has made his mark against his former county. We still await Zach Chappell doing similar, and here's his opportunity. He's coming back for his 3rd over. 137 for 4 with 4 overs left.
Zach Chappell from the Stuart Broad end. His figures so far: 2 overs, none for 19. Tad expensive for Zach Chappell. He's the former Notts player. He's going to be bowling to Tom Moores. Tom Moores dancing down the wicket and flicking this one out to long on for the single.
A number of people have been in touch. They've actually sent pictures from the live stream about the catch. Nigel King from the Smith Cooper stand this evening did look as if it bounced in front of the catcher. This is the Joe Clark dismiss, and as I say, 1 or 2 others have sent pictures in. The leading edge have, and Steve Battlemuch. Was that really out? He says, was that really out?
We're gonna hear a lot of that throughout the evening. I suspect as Chappell into Monty goes short, and I think he's not gonna have to rebowl that. That's well bowled, Zach Chappell. He's taken pace off the ball. It's a slower ball bouncer. Matthew Montgomery just trying to cut it away, but with absolutely no pace at all, misses it, and it goes through to Brooke Guest on the bounce. It's a dot ball. We've seen that bowled a lot in recent times, a slower ball bouncer.
Yeah, he's a skilled player, Zach Chappell. Get him on the park and he'll deliver.
This time Matthew Montgomery backing away, and Chappell following him. Pulled out to mid-wicket. Pat Brown does the fielding.
Number of injury issues during his time at Trent Bridge, and that was the problem, keeping him on the park for a consistent number of games, getting a run of games. But he's managed to play, I think, most of the games last year for Derbyshire, and again this year. There's no doubting he's got that little bit of quality.
Handy cricketer indeed. Zach Chappell in short, and Tom Moores just trying to overhit this one, you feel. Has towed it out to Ross Whiteley at the mid-wicket boundary for a single.
Not been a big over for Notts,
no.
Has there? Not something to really get you going. There's I think we've had 13 as the highest over, but they could just have 1 or 2 sizable overs now and get this 140 for 4 up to 180 plus.
Chappell in. Montgomery runs down the wicket and hits this down the ground. It's going to land in no man's land for a... They're only going to get a single for a second. Just for a second. I thought he was going to get caught. Is that Cam? It is Cam Fletcher.
Well, as it left the bat, I thought he was going to plonk it into the seats in front of the pavilion, and in the end, it just about landed on the 30-yard discs.
It did. Just did.
Our angle very misleading for that shot. Takes Montgomery to 7, 141 for 4.
4 from this chapel over. Tom Moores is going to miss this one, and that's a very tidy over from Zach Chappell. Very tidy indeed. The 17th over only goes for 4. The Outlaws are 1-4, 1-4-4.
Yeah.
Not what you need at this stage of the game, is it, Dave?
Notts have got wickets in hand. That's
Yeah.
something they've not had in other games. The middle order has been blown away. Moores and Montgomery here. Nicely set. Lyndon James, Liam Patterson-White, Calvin Harrison, Ollie Stone and Ben Lister to come. I've only seen a little bit of Liam Patterson-White, but he made an explosive 44 not out of not many balls here against Lancashire. He may be promoted in next.
Pat Brown in and Matthew Montgomery walking across the crease. And Pat Brown went wide and Monty just cutting this out to sweeper.
Yeah, the old saying is that would take some explaining to an American, but after their success in the current Cricket World Cup, I think a lot of Americans would understand the skill involved in that one, because Montgomery went walking well outside the offside, exposing his stumps, yet Brown chose not to bowl at the stumps.
Brown short and slower ball again, and Tom Moores threw the shot probably a week too early and hit him on the back of the bat, and they get through for a leg by.
Yeah, I think it hit him in the middle of the back actually.
Yeah, really early on that one. He could have had a cup of tea before it got through to him. Once again, Pat Brown, you know what you're going to get from him. Lots of slower balls, off cutters, leg cutters. I believe he's got a knuckleball as well, so lots of change ups. Expect that as Monty slams us away, and that will be half a dozen. Thank you very much. Well, I think he's set himself for the slower ball, set himself up perfectly, and Pat Brown's gone slot, and Montgomery's heaved this away over cow corner for 6 runs.
Umpire Graham Lloyd is just having a right old word with Pat Brown. Yeah, I don't know what that's about, but it doesn't look like they're asking each other what they're doing over the weekend. But anyway, it's gone for 6.
I wonder if it was him running down the middle of the wicket.
Might have been. But usually they just make a gesture, don't
Yeah.
they? You know, get off my land. Sweep with the arm, get away.
Oh, goodness me, it's Pat Brown in, and Monty again puts on his dancing shoes, and this time Whiteley's lost it. Ross Whiteley
I don't think it went for 6, did it?
No, it's gone for 4.
The umpire signalled 6, it went for 4, and the fielder out there, well, it might even have hit him on the head if it had been a yard to his left. Ross Whiteley just didn't know where it had gone.
Ross Whiteley had done his best impression of "I've lost my mates on the dance floor," looking around. Who's where? Couldn't find it. And the ball's just landed about 5 yards to his left, and it's gone for 4. To our amusement, probably to Pat Brown's frustration, Matthew Montgomery picks up his second boundary as many balls.
It's a good shot.
Montgomery this time scooping it, and he's not going to be given out.
No, off the
it's
pad.
come off the pad. So Matthew Montgomery walking across the crease again. We've seen that every ball that Pat Brown has bowled to Monty, and it's just hit the top of the pad, I believe, and Brooke Guest running in takes a catch, and I think Pat Brown was like, please, I deserve this one. It's not given up.
We're talking about people being in the crowd, and you've got to watch the ball. Just make sure you don't get hit by the ball in the crowd. I've never seen it apply to a fielder in the deep. Very, very nearly had it land on his head.
Poor Ross Whiteley's going to be a meme.
Didn't know where it had gone. He had a great chance of catching it had he picked it up earlier.
Correct, as Pat Brown in, goes wide, and Montgomery slamming this one out to Longer. The sweep on the offside for a single. Productive over for the Outlaws as they won 5-6 for 4. In fact, that ball did go for 6, so it just must have crossed the boundary rope. They've got it down as crossing the line, so really big over that for the Outlaws, and that's the over that they would be looking for. 2 to go. We're going to see Darren de Pavillon from the Stuart Broad end.
I'm not sure it did, actually. But
I also don't think it did. I think Matthew Montgomery's been gifted 2 runs there. Ross Whiteley's misery. Oh, shame. When it rains, it pours. When it rains, it pours. And It really was funny.
Well, that's two contested incidents in the Outlaws innings. Of course, the Joe Clark dismissal. A lot of listeners and viewers suggesting it might have hit the ground, as Joe Clark was claiming.
Matthew Montgomery, 21 off 10 here. Darren de Pavillon. Matthew Montgomery backing away and driving this one out to mid-off, who's inside the circle for a single. The Outlaws 157 for 4. 11 balls left in this innings. Tom Moore's now 24 off 20. What can he bring up? Can he pick up a boundary? Got a nice bit of momentum from that Pat Brown over. Can Tom Moores join in on Matthew Montgomery's party?
Well, yes, he'll be swishing towards the shorter boundary. It's not as short as we have seen it here at Trent Bridge in the past. Rope right back, almost touching the boundary boards in front of the Smith Cooper stand.
De Pavillon in, goes full and wide, and Moore swishing it away, and the umpire says, "You're going to have to bowl that again, lad."
Yep.
It's a wide ball.
Ideal for Notts. Just a reminder that between the two innings, we'll return to the BBC Radio Nottingham studios, and Adam Hassel will, I'm sure, run down what's happening elsewhere, both in the cricket and the football. So if you are recording, or set the old plus thing to watch the other games later, you might want to miss Adam as he updates everything else.
This one again wide by de Pavillon, and this one again going to have to be re-bowled by de Pavillon. So
there's always great kidology in these instances, because Tom Moores is doing everything he can to convince the umpire that that's far too wide for me to reach, and the umpire is then having the bowler in his ear saying, "But no, he could have reached that."
Yeah, it is brilliant, isn't it? The Outlaws got their highest score of the T20 Blast 2024, 159 now. Yep. So far, 3 off the first ball as de Pavillon bowled 2 wides. So you're going to dish up this time. This one a legal ball and slammed out to Samit Patel for a dot ball. You feel they probably could have scampered a single there, don't you? You never know though. He hit it really, really well. Has Tom Moores, and straight to Samit.
It would have just been like Samit Patel, just to throw the stumps down, just as another look at what you could have had moment.
It's written in the stars. Probably Tom Moores. Nah, he'll hit from there.
Still 4 balls left in this over.
It is. 3 from the first 2. De Pavillon. Quite expensive so far this evening. Tom Moores carves this one out into the gap. No, it's good fielding by Pat Brown. They're going to get back for 2. Tom Moores is going to have to put on his skates, but he gets back comfortably. Good running from these 2. Tom Moores really is a whippet between the wickets. De Pavillon so far 2.5 overs, 0 for 28, so he's gone around a little bit. Outlaws 161 for 4 here. Really are just trying to stay away from that short boundary. It's Darren de Pavillon going very full and wide, having them hit out towards the Fox Road stand. De Pavillon in, Tom Moores carving this one out to deep backward point for a single. Brings Matthew Montgomery on to strike.
Yeah, Tom Moores 27 from 23 now, his highest score of this campaign so far. Matthew Montgomery 22 from 11. That's the sort of strike rate that Notts are going to need in these last 8 deliveries in the innings. 162 for 4. Can they get 18 from these 8 balls, get up to 180?
You feel that's the score that they would want? The Falcons really do come really hard up front as well. So de Pavillon, Montgomery backing away and inside edged it out to mid-wicket for a single. De Pavillon just following him there. Once he's just trying to give himself room and hit over the offside field that are all in the ring towards the short boundary, but felt that it's a strong option for him to take, as a little bit of Freddie Mercury echoing around Trent Bridge this evening. It was actually quite a good reception, to be honest with you there. I won't bore the listeners with my vocal cords. Don't have any. As de Pavillon in, Tom Moores just chopping this one out. Dug it out quite nice. It's a very well executed delivery from de Pavillon. as in the end, that's a reasonably tidy over from Darren de Pavillon.
Yeah, considering it was an 8-ball over.
Reasonably tidy.
And he went for 8. So 1 over to go. Notts with 6 wickets in hand. But it's all down to this pair, they'll hope, that Moores and Montgomery can tuck into Zach Chappell and transform 164 for 4 to 180 at least. Won't be easy, as we've already seen. He's got a really good slower ball, and he's got a really quicker ball. I just hope he gives you something in between.
Pat Brown just telling Zach Chappell what he found worked on this wicket. Samit Patel telling him what his donkey's years of experience of playing at Trent Bridge, where to and where not to bowl it. And just for good measure, Nia Donald was also in his ear. So Zach Chappell's got loads of advice there, and he's just chopping and changing.
Well, he's going to take the pace off, because the leg side field is all out. In fact, they bring in long leg up inside the ring, but all the others on the leg side are out on the fence.
Zach Chappell, wearing the number 32 to Tom Moores, goes slower ball into the wicket and slammed out to Cam Fletcher. They're not going to get back for 2. I feel this is a better matchup now. Matthew Montgomery on strike, hits into the short leg side boundary. He feels Zach Chappell's probably going to look to go very wide Yorkers again, make hitting to the leg side very, very difficult. Matthew Montgomery, 23 off 12, striking it really nicely. The Outlaws 165 for 4. Can Monty just clear the boundary? He's shuffled across, and he's going to just chip it out into long off for a single. Again, not being able to get back for 2.
No, that's another win for Derbyshire. 2 balls, 2 singles, 166 for 4.
Matthew Montgomery again walking across his stumps, leaving all 3 of his stumps exposed, and Zach Chappell again not falling for it, just going even wider and making hitting to the leg side incredibly difficult. Chappell going to go around the wicket to Tom Moores. Fine leg and third man in the ring. This is pace off again by Zach Chappell, and Tom Moores slam this down the ground. They should get back for 2, and they are going to get back for 2. So Zach Chappell's bowled 3 balls here. All 3 of those balls have been slower balls. So clear plan from Zach Chappell. Make him force it, make him force the pace. 4 from this last over. Can Tom Moores find a boundary? Can Tom Moores clear the boundary? Zach Chappell. Tom Moores. Oh wow! Oh wow! Oh wow, that's a great catch, Wayne Madsen. That is a great catch. Tom Moores has played a switch hit. Wayne Madsen has dived away to his right and taken it full stretch. And that's a really, really good catch, Wayne Madsen. I thought Tom Moores had found the gap, and quite an extraordinary shot. Zach Chappell took pace off, and Wayne Madsen, 39 years young, or however old he is, has moved like a 21-year-old and taken a screamer to his right-hand side. The Outlaws lose their 5th, and Lyndon James walks to the crease.
Yeah, really good catch indeed. Not long for Lyndon James to make his mark. Just 2 balls left. But again, a break put on the not scoring. It's a dot ball, it's a wicket. Chappell 1 for 4 in this over. Would seem to me as if Notts are a little under par. They're going to have to bowl and field well.
Chappell into James, who's hitting this down the ground to long on for a single. 1 ball left of this over. Outlaws 169 for 5. Not been the over that they would be looking for. Not been the last 2 overs really. Haven't been the overs that they would have looked to have. 8 coming from the 19th, and so far only 5 coming from the 20th here. So really tidy work from Zach Chappell. What can Matthew Montgomery do? I'm sure we'll see him walk across his stumps. We do see him walk across his stumps, and we do see him hit it over square leg. Is the ball got the legs? Go on the white ball. Go on the white ball. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone for 4, folks. Well, Montgomery has saved the over. The over's gone for 8 in the end. Beg your pardon, 9 in the end. The Outlaws finish on 173 for 9. Matthew Montgomery's played a nice little cameo of 28 of 14 there. Zach Chappell kicked the turf when that ball went for 4 in disgust. It's a really nice little shot and teased Alex Thompson all the way to the boundary. And it's a nice finish. Outlaws 173 for 5. That's their highest score of the T20 Blast. We'll see if it's enough.
I think we've got a good game on our hands now. I certainly don't think Notts will say that's a nailed-on victory, and I think Derbyshire will very much expect to chase that down. They would have hoped to get back to winning ways this evening, get their first victory away from home, apart from the match right at the start of the competition when they forfeited one home game to play at Edgbaston. They managed to win that one, but all their other away games they've been defeated, apart from obviously Lyndon James right at the end, who only came in with a couple of balls left. Everybody else got a start, yet once again a familiar tale. Nobody got 50. Joe Clark may well have done if he'd been given the opportunity. Dismissed for 47 off Pat Brown. Slightly controversial one, or maybe a hugely controversial one, because Clark was adamant that the ball had been grasped by Darren Dupavalon. The umpires conferred and sent him on his way. So Clark out for 47. That was the top score. Tom Moores made 31. They were the two leading contributors. Matthew Montgomery 28 not out, 26 from Alex Hales on certainly what will be his last appearance for the Outlaws this season. Jack Haynes 18, Ben Martindale 16, and Lyndon James 1 not out. 173 for 5. This is all set up to be a cracker, I fancy, but it may well be a few nails bitten. Just seeing the replay there of I could see you looking at that one. What did you see?
I think it actually just has crossed the boundary. It really was funny though, just watching Ross Whiteley with his hands in the air like, where is it, lads? Give me a shout please, and it landing about 5 yards from him for 6, where if he had looked at it, just had to take a simple catch to his left. Monty ended up getting a bit of a nice cameo after that, so important for the Outlaws that he kicked on there.
Shame to see Alex Hales fall when set, 26 off 23, but Joe Clark, you fancy, was the key one, 47 from 28. Whether it was legitimately out or not, it's a shame, because Notts all competition haven't had somebody go on and get that big score. It remains Jack Haynes 51 in the first game, the highest score that any Notts batter have had, and this is match number 8.
It's a bit disappointing. Again, the Outlaws, you feel all season, have just lost wickets when batters look like they're set to go on and get a big score, and it's no real surprise or change this game. Whether Joe Clark was out or not, we will never know. He was judged to be out on the field, and that's what we have to go by. Graham Lloyd was quite happy with that, but I thought he looked good for the 47. I really did.
So Notts have posted 173 for 5. Fancy this one might be close, Adam. he's got an economy rate of 8, so he's never really been smacked around. Best figures 2 for 20 in the match here against Worcestershire. He's only taken 6 wickets in the 7. This is going to be the 8th wicket. I guess a little bit of a mixed bag, and I guess the jury's out. He's done a decent job without ever really threatening, clearly from those figures, without ever clearly getting the bundle of wickets that Notts would have hoped.
Correct. I agree. I think he really has never really got going, never really been terrible. I think the one game that he did go around the park a little bit was when Ross Whiteley got hold of him a fortnight ago, but he'll be wanting to put that right, no doubt. He'll want to leave on a bang. He'll want to finish well and finish strong.
An economy rate of 8,
it's
bowling
really good.
front and back power play is fine,
but it's the wickets, isn't it?
It is hard to get wickets. I mean, collectively, Notts haven't done great. I mean, he's a second leading wicket taker, joint second leading wicket taker. There's only Ollie Stone that's got more than him, but he's not won any games on his own up to this point. So I'm really saying all this with a purpose, hoping he goes out with a bit of a bang. Nice enough fella. Enjoyed him being around the squad and being here, and certainly wouldn't be averse to seeing him again in the future. But just hasn't quite had that big haul of wickets, say that Shaheen Shah Afridi, of course, different kettle of fish, got last year, and he's been asked to do a similar sort of role. Here we go then, let's see what he can do. We've given him the build-up. Derbyshire require 174 to do the double over Notts.
Nye Donald, who seems to be the real definition of feast or famine, struck it really nicely. For the Falcons, he's going to be up against Ben Lister, as we mentioned earlier. This will be his last game for the Outlaws for this season in the T20 Blast. Lister wearing the number 27 into Nye Donald, and what a seed that is. We need to big him up every game.
Yeah.
We need to big him up. Dave, you know what?
That was the idea.
That's wrong. I'm sorry, Ben. That's what's been wrong. It's been us. It's been Dave and myself. We just have not given you enough credit. That is an absolute superb ball. Swinging back, nipped back, and it's cut Nye Donald in half.
Unplayable.
What a ball that is. All it needed was a little feather of an inside edge to Tom Moore's. Would have been a cracking start. What a ball. Ben Lister. Can he serve up second ball? Again, a nice little tidy ball. And just pushed across Nye Donald and guided out to Matthew Montgomery for a single.
Yeah, they're off the mark, 1 without loss. I'm just having a little look there. I just said to do the double over Notts. They've only done the double over Notts once in T20 cricket, and that was way back in 2005. I mean, Derbyshire have only beaten Notts 8 times full stop in the 22 years, but 2005 they did the double. It's been pretty lean for the Falcons since then.
Has been. Saman Patel no doubt said that in his pre-match talk, as this one from Lister's just fired down to Tom Moore's for a double. It's been again a really tidy start from Lister. It looks like got the first one to swing back, and these two have just been angled across the two right-handers. Very fine third man in play again. Trent Bridge basked in sunlight, well, the majority of the ground is basked in sunlight, as Lister in again, and this one defended out to Ollie Stone, long off for a single.
Yeah, and the bits of the ground that aren't basked in sunlight are basked in the glow from Ben Martindale's orange boots. They're magnificent.
I've got so much time for bright footwear. I really do. I've seen quite a few players wearing them, and nice bright footwear. Good player to wear them. He is. It's Ben Lister. It's time into Lloyd, who's driving this one out to Matthew Montgomery on the wide third man boundary for a single. Tidy over so far. 3 from it. 1 ball left. Lloyd and Donald, the opening pair, gone reasonably nicely in the blast between them. Ben Lister would really like to get his evening off to an absolute flyer. What can he deliver? Nye Donald on strike, and Nye Donald flicking this one away and flicking it over. Calvin Harrison at square leg for 6. Not the ideal end to the first over. Lister getting this a tad too straight to Donald, who just helps on his way for 6.
Yeah, well, fine margins. You're saying
Yeah.
not the ideal way to end the over. Had it been a foot or maybe 4 feet lower, he'd have said what a way to end the first over, because he's just served it up straight into the hands of Calvin Harrison. Only just cleared him.
Would have been lovely. Short boundary. Calvin Harrison is a tallish man.
And he's now got to run Harrison right the way across from one side of the ground to the other. This time he's looking into the sun. Might have another Ross Whiteley incident. Although Ross Whiteley wasn't actually looking into the sun, was he? It's going to be Montgomery with this new action of his, the fairly gentle looking right arm off spin that almost starts from the middle of his back.
Does. Very similar to how Sunil Narayan runs in and bowls. Wonder if, well, it must be just to protect what type of ball he's going to bowl, hide it from the batsman so they can't pick it in his run up. Matthew Montgomery is in, and was that in the air? Just pushed down to long on where Ollie Stone does the fielding. I'm not quite sure if that was in the air and what that was a catch, as Lloyd did push it back to Montgomery, but Montgomery at full stretch didn't get there. But I don't quite know if that was in the air.
It says a lot about him that he feels he's got enough variations that he wants to hide them from the bowler, from the batter.
Leg cutter, off cutter, all sorts running in. Sunil Narayan really did make that the norm, didn't he, as Montgomery in this time, and this is chopped onto the pad of Donald for a dot ball.
You told me he spins it more than you do.
No, and I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I bowl straight breaks, as I've been told many a time. Matthew Montgomery in again. This one slammed out into the vacant gap between long on and mid wicket. They're going to get back for 2. Montgomery has gone for 3 of 3 here. Derbyshire Falcons are 12 for no loss.
Yeah, seems to be a specialist long on, doesn't he? Ollie Stone always seems to find himself that end in. Oh, now I say that, he's being waved up inside the circle as the floodlights come on. We've got the brightest period of weather at the moment, but clearly they feel it's a good time to pop the floodlights on, because it might get a little gloomy in an hour or so's time.
Monty, this time bowling to his field, and goes really full and wide at Donald Pal, and he kicks it away to Martindale for a dot ball. Obviously it hits him outside the leg stump, and now just to mess with Dave Bracegirdle's prediction, they've putting Ollie Stone back onto the boundary and bringing Liam Patterson-White up into the ring at square leg. Donald running down the wicket and pushing this out. Alex Hales at mid-off for a single. A lot happened there.
It did indeed, yeah. This Derbyshire opening partnership has just sort of manifested itself. They began the competition with Lewis Rees, the left-hander, and Harry Kame opening, and gradually they've turned to Donald and Lloyd.
This one is just slammed away, and Calvin Harrison has done the fielding out there at deep mid-wicket, and they get back for 2. Tidy over from Matthew Montgomery, 6 from it. It's been a reasonably good start for the Outlaws, as Derbyshire Falcons are 15 for no loss off the 2.
Yeah, if there's a better fielder on the county circuit at the moment than Calvin Harrison, I've not seen him. So a couple of overs out the way, and Notts have sort of developed a little bit of a strict pattern at the start of their bowling stints, with Lister and then Montgomery and then Stone, and it is going to be Ollie Stone to bowl the third over.
Thunderbolts is what Ollie Stone does deliver. Outlaws leading wicket taker this season. He's going to be bowling from the Radcliffe Road end. It's been a tad expensive, but does bowl the really, really marquee overs, we'll call them. Really difficult overs. Ollie Stone, where's the number 9? In and that's sore, and he's going to have a shot. Well, there's a lot of oohs there, but so, well,
I think the biggest who has got to come from Nye Donald, who's been struck amidships. They've scampered through for a leg bye, but Ollie Stone, he wasn't sure whether to appeal for LBW or go and field it. He went and fielded it, turned and threw towards the non-striker's end, and he was so close to running Donald out with a direct hit that I think all 11 Notts players threw their hands on top of their head when it narrowly missed.
Yep, I'm sure there was a few oohs from them as well as Ollie Stone. Now on to Lloyd, who's swinging away, looking to hit this into next week, and goes through to Tom Moores.
Yeah, I mentioned Lister, and of course it's a little bit different with Ollie Stone, leading wicket taker with 10 wickets, best of 3 for 30. He's a little bit more expensive. He's going at 9.2 a game, but he has been getting the wickets.
He has, and he does bowl really difficult overs. More often than not, we'll bowl the last over of the game and the last over of the power play, which are the two most difficult overs, some would say. This one in short, and this one chipped just into the gap and teases Lister, and they're going to scamper through for a single, a two, I beg your pardon, as they just chipped up. It has rushed Lloyd there a bit as Stone's gone hard into the wicket, and Donald just looking to swivel and pull this away. He's just reached the top of the bat and just clears the 30-yard circle between mid-on and mid-wicket, and they get through for 2. Ollie Stone continues. This one's short, and this one is gone straight up in the air, and Jack Haynes should take a lovely catch, and does take a lovely catch. Well, Ollie Stone continues with the short pitch ball ploy, and this time gets a little bit of profit. This one goes straight up, and Lloyd's got to go for 7. The Falcons lose their first. Ollie Stone picks up his first, and they have a breakthrough. Extra
bit of pace, wasn't it? He just hurried onto him, and David Lloyd trying to get into a position to pull it over the leg side, knowing that there's no protection out there for Notts, but he was just hurried into the stroke, went straight up in the air, and Joe Clark on the Jack Haynes, I beg your pardon, on the 30-yard discs, able to take the catch. New man is Cam Fletcher, who a fortnight ago had been playing in the Bradford League. Blair Tickner, the New Zealand test bowler, was called away for personal reasons, had to fly back to his home country. Derbyshire were left in need of an overseas player. They know all about Cam Fletcher. He played for Glamorgan in the Blast last year, been scoring good runs in the Bradford leagues this year, and they made a phone call. No doubt there were some agents involved. Made a phone call, and they made his debut against Notts a couple of weeks ago. He's not exactly pulled any trees up as yet, and I'm a little reticent in saying that, because you're in this format, you're only ever one innings away from being in form, aren't you?
Most certainly, and Cam Fletcher would love to make an impact here. Ollie Stone goes full and strikes him on the pad, and I tell you what, I thought Graham Lloyd was raising his hand there, and he signalled a leg by, so they scampered through for a single. Ollie Stone's gone really full, and Cam Fletcher just got caught on the crease. Hit him on the front pad and get through for a single. Everyone went absolutely massive there.
I thought it was drifting down, to be perfectly honest.
I'm not
the signal from the umpire made me think, oh, perhaps he's going to give it, but initial thought was it was perhaps just drifting down.
You've heard it from Dave Bracegood, the commentator in the room. Ollie Stone goes full, and this one driven out by Nye Donald to Calvin Harrison for a single. Dave, if it's not out, it's definitely, you are correct, it isn't out, but nope, you are, Graham Lloyd, in the same opinion. As at the end of the third, the Derbyshire Falcons are 20 for 1.
Yeah, Notts will be pleased to get that first wicket in the power play. They'll look to clearly make further inroads here in this tricky little first 6 overs. I know all about the two old heads, the 40-year-old Wayne Madsen, 39-year-old Samit Patel. We saw them two batting in tandem at Derby, and then once that partnership was broken, Ross Whiteley came in and applied the finishing touches spectacularly. So that'll be the Derbyshire game plan. For Notts, it's pace on for the 4th over with Ben Lister again.
Lister around the wicket to Donald, and struck him on the pad, and it's going to be a dot ball. Change of ends for Ben Lister. Went for 9 in his first over. for 6 on his last ball that to tease Calvin Harrison as it just sailed over his head for half a dozen. I've seen this quite a lot from Ben Lister. His first over he tends to come over the wicket, so left arm over, and his second and third he tends to come around the wickets, just a change of angle. Lister in again, and Nye Donald is lapping this one and just falling short of Lyndon James at short third man. But they're going to just have to do a bit of a concussion test as they hit Nye Donald in the head, obviously. I think he's ramped it onto his helmet.
One or two more people taking the trouble to get in touch. Thank you very much, very kind. Suzanne Martin's watching. The Yellow Belly, one of our regulars, also watching. Not sure whether the one from Joe Clark earlier in the day was out or not. Lyndon's mum is with us, enjoying the coverage on the live stream. Thanks to everybody again for being with us this evening. And whilst I was just reading them out, it just seems as if everything's okay and ready to carry on with Ben Lister bowling to Cam Fletcher, yet to get off the mark. 21 for 1 in the 4th over. Notts posting 173 for 5 if you're just joining us. Joe Clark top scored with 47. Some late and timely hits from Tom Moores, who made 31. He was out in the final over, leaving Matthew Montgomery 28 not out.
Lister into Fletcher, who's going to get off the mark with an inside edge out to deep square leg for a single.
Samit Patel picked up a couple of wickets, including that of Alex Hales, and my, how did he enjoy that. He went on a mini lap of Trent Bridge. I think he'd have run even further if he had to run out of puff. Hales out for 26 on, as I say, his final appearance in the Blast this season for Notts, unless they make finals day.
Lister in, pace off, and he's bowled a very good Yorker to Lloyd, who all he can do is just push it back to Lister for a dot ball. Again, a nice tidy over so far. 2 from Lister's first 4 balls here, and so far this is a really tidy power play.
It would seem as if Notts have got to win this, and then they'll have to win all of their last 6 to make the knockout phase, going on the number of points they'd have compared to previous seasons, so highly unlikely.
This one hits straight up in the air. This is going to be a great catch, but I feel that if anyone could have caught it, it would have been Calvin Harrison. But Calvin Harrison has run about 40 yards.
Well, what we can say is quicker than Stone, Haynes and Patterson White, because the ball landed, was always going to land between the 4 of them, and yet he was the one that got there quickest, and a full-length dive. He very, very nearly got something on it.
Tell you what, that would have been an absolute screamer if he had got that, and Calvin Harrison could have taken us. This one now is lapped away for 4 from Nye Donald. He's walked across his stumps, and Lister's gone at the stumps, a Yorker, and Donald's got a bit of a deflection on it. It beats short fine leg, and it's gone for 4.
On the big screen here, I've not seen this here before.
Oh, Kiss Cam.
For a while, we've got the Kiss Cam, and
here we go.
They're clearly a couple that's being filmed that are up on the big screen. Oh, there we go. There we go. He got his kiss after all. The young lady, I think, was just halfway through a bag of crisps, I think. 28 for 1. Ollie Stone to bowl over number 5.
We see that a lot in American sports, don't we? The kiss camera. I quite enjoyed that this evening. So Ollie Stone into Fletcher, who's just defending this one out to mid-wicket for a dot ball. Did we see the kiss cam last year, Dave?
I can't remember.
I can't remember seeing the kiss cam.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
That's true. Fair enough. I had, if anyone was wondering, I had the boss's muesli, and the boss was not very pleased I ate her breakfast this morning, so got a bit in the ears. Rabbit food. Ollie Stone in, and this one off the pad. Feel of Fletcher, and scamper through for a single. Maybe a leg by. Unlike last Friday night at New Road, where we didn't really know what the
the DLS score was tonight in bright sunlight, with no chance of the match being rained off. Of course, we've got it ball by ball at the moment, and at the end of this over we would have a contest. Notts would need to have more than 38. Derbyshire, I beg your pardon, more than 38. They're 29 for 1.
This one, oh wow, that's big.
Gosh,
That's huge. That is slammed very, very, very high from Nye Donald. Ollie Stone going length and Nye Donald swatting him away into the Smith Cooper stand. It went incredibly high and handsome and has gone for half a dozen.
I've only seen 2 or 3 hit over that stand, but I thought that was another one when it was in the air. In a sense, you always knew it was going to be 6 from when it left the bat, so I was a little disappointed that it just dropped down into the upper reaches of the Smith Cooper. I've seen, as I say, 2 or 3 times I've seen it cleared, and they are big hits.
Very high 6. That from Nye Donald, 24 of 15 here. Ollie Stone goes tight at him again, and Nye Donald throws his head up in the air in frustration as he feels that he should have got a little bit more for that ball. He scampered through for a leg by nonetheless.
Because, there is the perception that, with a fast bowler in, all you've got to do is get bat on ball and it will fly away with plenty of pace on it, but that doesn't apply to big slogs high over deep mid wicket. You've got to apply all the force to the ball then.
Ollie Stone into Cam Fletcher. He's gone short and it's rushed him a little bit. It's hit the top of the bat and goes out to Matthew Montgomery at square leg for a single. Ollie Stone's extra pace there. So far, even though the one ball did go for 6, Ollie Stone's only conceded 7 from it, but there has been 2 leg buys, so 9 from this over with 1 ball to go. Been a reasonably tidy power play so far. Derbyshire Falcons are 37 for 1. Ollie Stone, last ball of the over, slower ball, and Nye Donald has hit this for 6 as well. This one even bigger than the first one, as it's gone about 10 or 15 rows back into the Smith Cooper stand, and Ollie Stone concedes 6 off his last, which means that over's gone for 15. The Derbyshire Falcons are 43 for 1. At the same stage, the Outlaws were 47 for 1.
Don't often see Ollie Stone hit for
No.
a couple of 6s in the same over. First one was sent down plenty of pace. It was a real thunderbolt of a delivery. The second one was pace off, but both got the treatment. So Liam Patterson-White into the attack in the power play. Slow left arm from the Stuart Broad end. As we've just heard, the Falcons just a whisker behind where Notts were at the same stage. At the end of this over, Notts were 59 for 1 at the end of the power play. 43 for 1 it is at the moment. So Patterson-White to bowl to Cam Fletcher. He's 2 not out from 5. He's not yet managed to time the ball, but now he has, as he hits the first ball from Patterson-White straight into the seats in front of the pavilion for 6. A low, flat, hard 6 drilled down to the other end, and thankfully, as we've been saying, there are some empty seats today, and I think that clattered straight into a seat rather than into the patrons, so that was hit with immense force. And already LPW, Liam Patterson-White playing catch-up, 0 for 6 from just 1 delivery. 49 for 1. Patterson-White bowls again, and this one into the pads of the New Zealander Fletcher. Be a leg by, and the 50 is brought up to complete indifference.
Yeah, not a single applause around the ground, which is what you'd probably expect at Trent Bridge.
Donald is motoring, and he continues to motor. It's in his Ferrari here, because he's hit 4 more down the ground. 34 from 18 for Nye Donald, who's had a little bit of success in this competition over the years. He joined Derbyshire in the close season from Hampshire, where he was a blast winner a couple of years ago. Played in that Hampshire side that defended a very modest 120 here in the quarter-final against Notts. So Liam Patterson-White going around the park, and he's gone again. Another magnificent shot here from Nye Donald for 6. This one just opened the face a little bit. It went over sort of wideish long off, or deepish extra cover for 6, and he's gone for 16 off
That's an incredible shot, Dave.
4 deliveries, yeah.
From the replays there, that looks like Liam Patterson-White's speared that a tad down the leg side, and Nye Donald's given himself room to the leg side and hit it over mid-off. He's just come up in the ring for 6.
In fact, what I thought was a leg bye wasn't a leg bye. Now then, this one's up in the air, but won't go anywhere near Lyndon James, and that will disappear down below us, and that'll be another boundary. Yes, the one I thought was a leg bye earlier in the over wasn't. That was a run as well. So these are all going against Liam, and they're all going against Notts. This is prodigious over for the Falcons. 6-1-4, 6-4 so far in this over. 12-16-21 with 1 ball left. And the Falcons have got their noses well and truly in front here. Notts need a wicket. 64 for 1. Final delivery of the power play, and again he comes, and again he's made a really solid contact. Look out, Batman. Thought that was going to strike the Batman board. It just dropped down in front of it. Crikey, what a blow. 70 for 1 is the score after 6 overs, and Nyron Donald has
Nye Donald's got his 50.
He's gone to his 50 there.
21 balls. Wow.
That is magnificent hitting. Wonderful ball striking in that over.
Some incredible ball striking from Nye Donald. I said earlier, he really does hit it cleanly. Scored some really quick 50s already in this T20 blast.
Liam Patterson-White going for 27 in that over. That's the big over that Notts never really looked like getting anywhere near. To be Calvin Harrison into the attack. Calvin, 6 wickets in the season's campaign. Economy rate of 7.9. Best of all the Notts bowlers, apart from Luke Fletcher, who played just the 1 match. He only went for 4 1/4 the match he played before picking up an injury. Harrison bowls to Fletcher, and he knows where his bread's buttered. Just plays it on the leg side, takes a single to get the flying Donald back on strike. 50 from 21 for Nye Donald. 71 for 1.
Calvin Harrison will just look to go a bit flatter into the pitch and just bowl to Cam Fletcher. Stay away from Nye Donald when he's in this sort of form.
Harrison bowls to him, and again he looked to go big and completely mistimed that. Just couldn't get the leg spinner away like he had the slow left armour. Gets a single nonetheless. 72 for 1. Brings Fletcher back onto strike, and that's what Notts want at the moment. See if they can keep Nye Donald at the non-striker's end for long enough for him to just lose his striking, lose his timing. Harrison bowls to Fletcher, and he's played it out into the offside. Going to get 1. They're only going to get 1. So 3 singles at the start of this Calvin Harrison spell. 73 for 1 is the score.
Good bowling by Calvin Harrison, just staying away from the hitting arc. Can he come up with Donald? Donald going to be incredibly aggressive.
Harrison bowls to him, and it's very, very nice indeed. Just took the pace off it, but he pushed it nice and full outside the off stump, and Donald almost yorked himself, just nudged it back along the carpet to the bowler. 73 for 1 here at Trent Bridge. Derbyshire require 101 more, and this one cut to backward point, and there's no run on it. Very good indeed from Harrison.
Great bowling, Calvin. Just going out of Nye Donald's hitting arc completely there. Fantastic.
Now, can he finish with a dot or a 1 here? Can he get through the over? Harrison bowls. Again he comes, and it's scruffy inside edge. He'll get a single. So only 4 from that over, and that repairs a little bit of the damage from the previous over. Really good from Calvin Harrison. 74 for 1 after 7, so 100 are now required from 13 overs.
Really good over that from Calvin Harrison. Changed it up a lot, changed his pace up a lot, changed his delivery up a lot in terms of his variations, firing a couple through flat and full, and a couple a bit slow and short. It's keeping Nye Donald and Cam Fletcher guessing there. We're going to see Liam Patterson-White continue here. He will no longer be bowling in the power play, so he can have his full quota of 5 out the ring. Talk you through that. Over, it's going to be Dave Bracegirdle.
Yeah, that's I think that's good from Joe Clark.
Yeah. Shows a lot of trust, doesn't it?
Yep. I say that at the start of the over. Let's hope at the end of it it's not seen as being a little bit of a mistake because his figures aren't flattering. 1 over none for 27. Liam Patterson-White bowls, and this one's heaved away, and he's going to get a wicket first ball, and he is. Matthew Montgomery with a safe pair of hands, and Nye Donald has gone out for 52, and all the Notts players just pause for a moment. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of them, all the Notts players have rushed up to Liam Patterson-White because he will have been hurting the last over, they will have been hurting for him, and now he's come on. A vote of faith from Joe Clark, and it's quickly and instantly rewarded. Nye Donald out, caught Matthew Montgomery on the deep square leg boundary, bowled Patterson-White for 52, 74 for 2.
Patterson-White gets his man. He's come back really well there. He's gone straight to Nye Donald, just sweeping this one away and caught at deep square leg.
Look at this.
Wow, I have never seen this before. We're going to see Zach Chappell come to the crease at 4. It might be a bit of a nosebleed, but wow.
Well, he has had first class score of 90 odd, but that was way back in his Leicestershire days, even before he came to Trent Bridge. May even have had one in Derbyshire colours. He does know which end of the bat to hold. Clearly he's been sent out there as a little bit of a pinch hitter. He's got a free licence, just preserving Madsen and Patel, who are obviously two of the kingpins in that middle order. But you'd have thought if they were going to do that, maybe Ross Whiteley. But again, they're just saying to Zach Chappell, go out there and have a go, see what you can do. And his first ball, he pushed it back to the bowler. So Liam Patterson-White with the wicket. What a difference just a couple of minutes literally has made. None for 27 becomes 1 for 27, and Donald, who was motoring, is out, and now he's bowled him, and that didn't work. And Patterson-White in this over has got 2 for none. Chappell out, bowled second ball by Patterson-White, and slogging across the line, missed it completely.
Not a pretty shot by Zach Chappell, looking to heave-ho this out into the leg side, and as his furniture disturbed. Not quite sure what the plan was there, but it hasn't worked. Patterson-White from 0 to hero very quickly. Brilliant comeback. The Falcons lose their third, they're 74 for 3.
You're not really telling me that you didn't know what the plan was there in sending Zach Chappell out?
Yeah. I don't understand.
Well, it was to go out there and just have a go, just see if he can, if he can whack 15 from 8 or 9 balls. He's applied a little bit of pressure to the bowlers, and again he's set it up. Well, that would have been the aim, to try and. Now, what's happening here?
We've got 3 batsmen out of the crease.
They have indeed. Now it looks as if we've got the need for a runner to be out there.
What in?
The 2 umpires are getting together. New man is Wayne Madsen. Didn't notice either. Well, I was going to say didn't notice him pick up any sort of injury. The runner. We'll just try and clarify this for you in a moment. Wayne Madsen is the new man. The runner is Cam Fletcher, who of course has been dismissed. Or has he?
No, Cam Fletcher hasn't been dismissed.
Sorry, it's not. It's Nye Donald who's come out as the runner. Now, has he come out as the runner for Fletcher, or has he come out as the runner for Madsen?
He's come out as the runner for Madsen because Madsen's on strike and he's gone down and stood next to Graham Lloyd.
74 for 3. Patterson-White into Wayne Madsen. Nudges this back to the bowler. So far this over, 2 for none from 4 balls. It went wicket, dot, wicket, dot. 100 required from Derbyshire. Madsen pushes this and then takes the run.
I'm not sure what in the world is going on out there.
So Cam Fletcher has clearly tweaked.
Fletcher.
Yeah, he's clearly tweaked or pulled or twisted something, maybe during the innings, and going for a 2 a little early on, maybe trying to slog himself off his feet, going for a big shot, but he's got a runner out there. And he plays this to long on, Ollie Stone. So he's just playing essentially as a batter. not having to do the running end of the over. It was 2 runs from that and 2 wickets, 76 for 3. Quite a dramatic over in a lot of senses. The same stage Notts were 71 for 1 after 8 overs. But 3 down, Fletcher and Madsen at the crease. There's still power to come with Samit Patel, Ross Whiteley, Brooke Guest in particular. But Derbyshire snuck out Zach Chappell there as clearly as a pinch hitter. Go out there and try and grab as many runs in as fewer deliveries as you could, but it was clean bowled for Nort's second ball.
He was indeed, and we're going to see Calvin Harrison. So 4 overs of spin now in a row. He's going to be bowling the Radcliffe Road in.
Yeah, the last 2 overs have been terrific. Here's Harrison, bowls now and worked on the leg side for a single. So the last 2 overs have been miserly from the 2 spinners. 2 wickets for just a total of 6 runs. That repaired the 27 over damage. 77 for 3. Sense the crowd is getting a little more boisterous, a little livelier. Perhaps a drink or 2 has been quaffed. Single taken here on the leg side by Wayne Madsen, Italian international, born in South Africa of course. 40 years of age.
Oh goodness me.
Harrison, another one, born in South Africa, spent a lot of time in New Zealand, hit out into the offside, and that's a crowd catch, maybe even a commentator's catch. Drilled to Joe Clark at extra cover.
That's the second time you've been done like that this season.
Harrison, I'm not saying whether I was or I wasn't. Next one's played out to, there he is, Ben Martindale with the glow lights on his feet. 79 for 3 in the 9th over.
Again, really tidy from Calvin Harrison. Only 3 from his first 4 balls here. Again, deep backward point for Wayne Madsen's reverse sweep. Does like the normal broom as well.
There's Harrison to Wayne Madsen. There is the normal broom. Out to Martindale, single taken, 80 for 3. Didn't give you Nye Donald's figures, I don't think. He made 52 from 26 balls with 3 4s and 5 6s.
Crazy. Absolute madness.
80 for 3. Next delivery is cut to backward point. No run. It was in the air for a while. Good stuff again from Calvin Harrison. 2 overs, none for 8. 80 for 3. And for the first time in a while, Derbyshire have now fallen behind where Notts were at the same stage. 80 for 3 after 9. And time for a little bit of Hey Jude, clearly.
Liam Patterson-White, after going for 27 in this first over, and Calvin Harrison and Liam Patterson-White since then have really pulled it back, taking 2 wickets and only going for 6 runs. I beg your pardon, 10 runs from there.
Here is Liam Patterson-White, 80 for 3. Bowls now to Madsen and has to scamper to his left to do the fielding. Whatever happens in this over and presumably the 4th when he gets to bowl it, these will be Liam Patterson-White's best figures in T20. It's only his 4th game and his best figures were 1 for 22. Well, he's got 2 wickets for 29 at the moment. He bowls now, and Madsen leading a charmed life there because it looked as if he was going to advance down the track, didn't. Just kept clearly a foot behind the crease, slashed at it, missed it. Tom Moore's whipped a bail off. Could have been dismissed by any number of means there. Patterson-White in again to Wayne Madsen. Drops this down on the leg side and gets a single, running of course with Nye Donald, who then gets out of the way. 81 for 3. Got some good news and some bad news for you, Nye. Well battered, but now you've got to get yourself back out there and run for somebody else.
Do what every batter hates doing, running between the wickets when all you want to do is slog it away over the ropes.
Fletcher's got 14 from 14. Pushes this into the offside and then sets off running and then remembers, ouch, that hurts. I've got a runner, I don't need to run. He's got 15 from 15. It's 82 for 3 here on BBC Radio Nottingham. T20 Blast cricket. Notts Outlaws against Derbyshire Falcons. The old foes doing battle once again. That's a nice shot from Madsen, and that will find the rope and the advertising boards in front of the Smith Cooper stand through extra cover for 4. If county cricket's not your normal thing, it's 4-day county championship cricket for Notts here at Trent Bridge, starting from Sunday. If you want to come along, you'll be made more than welcome. You'll have a pretty good day, but there'll be coverage of that BBC Radio Nottingham online from just before 11 o'clock on Sunday. Single taken, 87 for 3 after 10. And a reminder that the women's team based here at Trent Bridge, the Blaze, they've got through to finals day. Their 20 over competition, the Charlotte Edwards Cup, reaches their finals day tomorrow. That's being played at the county ground at Derby, and the Blaze are in the first semi-final at Derby tomorrow from 11:30, and you'll be able to follow their progress again via the BBC Sport website. 87 for 3 at the halfway stage here. Derbyshire require another 87 from 60 balls, so exactly halfway at the halfway stage. It's set up nicely, Kyle.
It is indeed. We're going to see Calvin Harrison bowl his third. So far his 2 overs have only cost 8 runs. He's been very economical. He's going to be bowling to Wayne Madsen, readjusting his field slightly. Seen here to Madsen, who's cutting it away, and Joe Clark does the fielding at extra cover. Nice into the wicket ball from Calvin Harrison, not giving anything where Wayne Madsen will be able to get down on one knee and sweep it away. Good bowling from the leg spinner. This one is short, and that spun quite a bit. Wayne Madsen did try to do exactly that, get on one knee and sweep it away, and Calvin Harrison had gone a little bit slower and had spun a little bit and struck Madsen on the pad, not hitting any set of stumps though. So not even an appeal. A little bit of spinners. This one from Calvin Harrison is nice and full, and Wayne Madsen pushing it out to long on for a single. Calvin is the only spinner so far to look to have got any sort of spin out of the wicket this evening. Does put a lot of revs on the ball. He's bowled very economically and well this evening. Into Fletcher, who's hitting it straight down the ground and has hit it for 4. Calvin Harrison just tossing this one up, going a little bit too full to Cam Fletcher, who just steps into it and swings it down the ground for 4. Slightly over pitched, and Calvin Harrison paying the price.
Where have you got it at the moment? I make Derbyshire just slight favourites at the moment.
I think just with who they've got to come in, and Samit Patel and Ross Whiteley. Calvin Harrison, this one's short and cut away out into the offside for a single. For a moment there I thought both batsmen had the same end, and then remembered there's a run on. So Cam Fletcher walks out towards square leg and leaves Wayne Madsen on strike. He's 10 off 12. Derbyshire Falcons 93 for 3, and this one is pushed out into cover where for a dot ball. So end of the 11th, only 6 from that Calvin Harrison over. Derbyshire Falcons are 93 for 3. Tidy over in the end from Calvin Harrison. He's been tidy all night. He's been tidy all tournament. Besides the bit of tap that he got from David Willey, where he went for 4 sixes in an over, all in a row, and then got him out. And had quite expensive figures there. He has been incredibly economical, as Dave said earlier today. Notts' most economical bowler so far this season. We're going to see Liam Patson-White in, so we've spinners taken over here. He's going to be bowling his 4th and final. So far figures of 2 for 36. This is a leading edge from Cam Fletcher out to Joe Clark, and they scamper through for a quick single. brings Wayne Madsen onto crease. The same stage, Notts Outlaws were tad ahead, but on the Duckworth Lewis, they are ahead of the Derbyshire Falcons. So Patterson White into Madsen, who's chopping this one into the ground. So Joe Clark for a dot ball. Patterson White, who was 0 for 27 after the first, is now 2 for 37 after 3.2. So a fantastic comeback. And this one, driven out to long off for a single. He's been brilliant since that first over, hasn't he?
Yes, indeed. This is his final over, though. Where are you going after this? Notts have still got Lyndon James up their sleeve as somebody else who's bowled in most of the games. We haven't seen him yet.
Still fancy the pace-off option, so maybe Matthew Montgomery. This one from Patterson White just flicked out into the leg side by Cam Fletcher for a single. He moves on to 22. The score moves on to 96 for 3. Madsen on 11 of 15, so behind the 8 ball really, Madsen. You don't see him often strike it under 100 of this format, but won't be panicking as this one cut away out to Martindale at cover for a single, not employing 2 covers. Joe Clark at extra squeezing tight, and Martindale sitting on the ring at a deep extra cover on the ring on the 30-yard circle. So Patterson White, 3 from this one. Last ball of his spells, hits straight down the ground, and Alex Hales will have to do the running around, and he does. Do get back for 2, so 5 from that Liam Patterson White over, and a tidy spell in the end, considering that he went for 27 in his first. At the end of 12, the Derbyshire Falcons are 98 for 3.
Yeah, 2 for 41. It looks quite expensive. It is going to be Lyndon James, but from this end to come into the attack as the 6th bowler used. But as you say, Liam Patterson White had a real spanking in his first over, came back strongly in overs 2, 3 and 4 and got rid of Nyron Donald, as well as Zach Chappell bumped up the order. So Lyndon James then from this Radcliffe Road end. If you're just joining us, Notts won the toss, opted to bat first. They put 173 for 5 on the board, their highest score in this season's competition. Again, nobody reached 50. Joe Clark top scored with 47. A couple of wickets for Samit Patel for the visitors, and he's yet to bat if required. Derbyshire 98 for 3. A wicket for Ollie Stone, 2 wickets for Liam Patterson White. We're looking at Duckworth Lewis and just about neck and neck at the moment. Here's Lyndon James then. And his first ball is just too wide of the guideline. And umpire Graham Lloyd stretches his arms out and says that'll have to be re-bowled. 99 for 3 Derbyshire.
Not the ideal start from Lyndon James, who we've seen often bowl in a block of 4 with Matthew Montgomery, each bowling 2 overs. He's going to be bowling from Radcliffe Road end here.
Here he comes.
Lyndon James. Oh, sorry. This one driven out into Ben Martindale in the bright pink shoes. And they're going to get back for 2. Cam Fletcher now ticks on to 23 of 20. They really are bright, aren't they?
I'm going to say I think I went orange when he was batting. I'm not entirely sure, even though he is down this end of the ground. The fluorescent something or others.
Do you like them? Stylish. Second T20 game. Lyndon James into Fletcher, who's chopping this one out to deep backward point for a single.
He's bowling in good areas here,
Lyndon.
I know the first one was a wide, but he's not giving them the opportunity to free their arms, or thus far he hasn't, and lever it over the leg side. He's got plenty of protection out deep on the offside.
I think that's just going to be the plan. Go full and wide, have him hit out to the long boundary and make that short boundary difficult to access. Lyndon James in, goes slower ball into the pitch. Wayne Madsen chopping it out to backward point, who's on the boundary, and they get through for a single only. Good fielding out there by Ollie Stone, who is definitely a very good boundary rider for this Notts Outlaws team.
What do you make of the positioning of Liam Patterson White, who's It's almost like a deep slip rather than a short third.
We've seen that employed a lot from the Outlaws this season. It's just very interesting take. I'd love to know Joe Clark's take on it. Again, slower ball, and this one hammered down the ground by Cam Fletcher. Wow. Brute force from Fletcher, and he's smacked it down the ground. Graham Lloyd having to take evasive action, ducking underneath it. He picks up a boundary. Lyndon James goes pace off into the wicket, and Cam Fletcher just stand and deliver flat batter down the ground for 4. Lyndon James now reloading. Can he deliver? This time goes full, and Cam Fletcher has hit it straight to Ben Martindale, who doesn't drop many. He's a good fielder, and he takes a good catch. Coming in off the rope, diving forward, takes it about 30 centimetres off the floor. Cam Fletcher's got to go. That's a big wicket. The Falcons lose their 4th.
Great moment for the young man. Of course, he's taking his first catch in T20 cricket. Made 16 earlier on. He officially made his debut last weekend against Durham, but the match was quickly washed away before he had a chance to play any sort of role, and put out in that position of huge responsibility on the long off boundary, and had to judge it nicely. It was always dropping on him. They're always difficult to take those as you're just trying to rush forward, judge where it's going to start dropping, and he took it sort of knee height, rushing forward. Very nicely done indeed, and I don't care if he's got pink boots, orange boots, or what they are. It was a lovely bit of fielding, lovely bit of groundwork, and a really important wicket for Notts, and also well done to Lyndon James and indeed Joe Clark for bringing him on. Now then, Ross Whiteley. Now then, lightning won't strike twice, will it? Let's hope not.
Ross Whiteley, the man who did all the destruction last time these two teams met, he's pushing it out to Joe Clark for his first ball. It's a dot ball, and it's a good over by Lyndon James. 9 from it, but the big wicket of Cam Fletcher. The Falcons are 107 for 4 after 13.
And for a fella who loves to get out there at the first opportunity, Samit Patel is being very patient here. At the earliest, he's going to come in at 7. Can't quite hear what's being provided as entertainment out there for the crowd. But they're getting very much into this. 107 for 4. It'll be Matthew Montgomery in the gold shirts of Notts to come on for his second over from the Stuart Broad end, the end that we used to just simply know it as the pavilion end.
Matthew Montgomery, his hand behind the back, in goes wide, and Madsen chopping this one out. So Ben Martindale for a single.
This is the danger, I suspect, that Whiteley is now hitting towards the Smith Cooper stand. That's away on his leg side. He's facing Matthew Montgomery, and he's got to get his line absolutely right here. Nice and full outside the off stump, or he might disappear.
I agree. I'd like to see Monty just go full and wide, have him hit out to sweeper. Ball to Madsen. Montgomery goes good length ball, and this is pushed to Joe Clark at extra cover for a single.
Dot
ball, pardon me.
I always do that. You automatically say single, don't you?
You do indeed. As this one is pushed out to mid-wicket for a single. I've got it right this time. So Ross Whiteley, 1 of 3. Derbyshire Falcons 109 for 4. Wayne Madsen 15 for 19. They're chasing 173 for 5. That's what the Notts Outlaws got after Joe Clark elected to have a bat first. Montgomery round the wicket, goes full, and Wayne Madsen stands and delivers straight down the ground for a 1 bounce 4. Matthew Montgomery's over pitched. Wayne Madsen moves his left leg out the way and slams it straight down the ground for 4. They're 113 for 4.
There's no way of stopping that. You just cannot have protection absolutely straight behind the umpire. It was as straight as a die, and it doesn't matter where you put long on or long off. They've just got no chance of cutting those off when it's hit that hard and that straight.
Indeed, this one correction in length from Matthew Montgomery. Goes more into the wickets, and Wayne Madson's hitting this out to Alex Hales at long off for a single. Better length, you feel. They always talk about not just letting the batsman step and swing through the line. So really good. Can he get out the over here? He's bowling to Ross Whiteley. Montgomery goes wide, and this is slammed, and it has absolutely taken Wayne Madsen out. Referee, have a word. It could have been a yellow card sort of challenge. He's hit that like a tracer bullet. It's hit Wayne Madsen on the left boot, who's taken him off his feet. He's landed on his tummy, all fours. He's fielded it really well as Wayne Madsen has got Matthew Montgomery out the over and finishes with a dot ball.
I think for a wheeze, I would, if I were Wayne Madsen, say, can you send Nye Donald back out to run for me, please?
Get him to put all his pads back on.
6 overs to go.
Scores are very similar, aren't they?
60 from 36. It's neck and neck in terms of Duckworth Lewis, in terms of where Notts were at the same stage. Who can finish the stronger? Can Notts get the wickets? Can Derbyshire just keep finding the rope?
Calvin Harrison brought on to bowl, and Calvin Harrison has been swept away for 4 by Wayne Madsen. Beautifully executed sweep shot from Madsen, and not much the two men on the boundary could do. That dissected them perfectly. He really does sweep it well, and the Falcons will feel that with Wayne Madsen out there, they'll feel very confident that he can get them over the line. Calvin Harrison in, goes down the leg side, and Tom Moores has done well to stop that one. Wayne Madsen just shuffling around a tad. Calvin Harrison just firing it down the leg side, and Madsen just stops, and it goes through to Tom Moores. He's going to have to re-bowl that one. So Calvin Harrison, 5 off 1 ball here. He's in to Wayne Madsen, who goes full, and Wayne Madsen slammed this down the ground for 6. And this is turning out to be a really big start to the over. 11 from the first 2. Calvin Harrison over pitching this one, and Wayne Madsen, beautiful strike straight down the ground for 6.
Yeah, very much so. This is Calvin Harrison's final over, of course. So that will be him and Liam Patterson-White bowled out. So it will be
Calvin Harrison into Madsen, who's chopping this one into the ground and allowing Joe Clark to run around and cut off the single. Yeah,
he was going to bowl then, so he cut me off. It will be down to Joe Clark whether he gives Matthew Montgomery any more overs or he just keeps the pace on.
Pace off from Calvin Harrison. Goes a little bit slower and just pushed it out to Alex Hales at long on for a single. They thought about 2, but Whiteley turned it down.
Yeah, Lyndon James, of course, only had the 1 over, picked up the wicket. So he's got plenty of overs left. Ollie Stone has bowled 2 overs, and so too has Ben Lister. So there's only 5 to go after this one. You'd imagine Lister 2 and Stone 2, and
Lyndon James
maybe
1.
Lyndon James. Done that a number of times, hasn't he? Shared the 4 over block between Lyndon James and Matthew Montgomery.
Have it. This one, there's a googly I fancy from Calvin Harrison, and don't think Whiteley's picked that, and is leading edged it out onto the 30-yard circle for a single at long off. Well bowled, Calvin Harrison. Nice slow googly. Ross Whiteley has most definitely not picked that one. Well bowled. 127 for 4 now. Last ball of Calvin Harrison's spell, and this one is swept out to Ben Martindale in his funky shoes at mid-wicket for the end of the over. So Calvin Harrison finishes with figures of 0 for 28. The Derbyshire Falcons are 128 for 4 at the end of 15. At the same stage, your Notts Outlaws were 124 for 3. So really nice and tight. 5 overs to go. We're going to have Ollie Stone from the Stuart Broad end.
Yeah, 46 runs required, so 9 and over or thereabout.
It's going to be a tight finish, this.
It is indeed. I think we suspected that, didn't we, at the interval. I wasn't entirely sure that Notts had got enough to put the game to bed, but nor was I confident that Derbyshire would be able to knock over a score of 170 on here this evening. against a pumped up Notts, but either of those things could still happen. It's going to be Ollie Stone, his third over. Figures of 1 for 16. He's going to bowl to Wayne Madsen, who's on 32 and very nearly snuck this through his defences. It was inside edge onto boot, rolled past the stumps, and they scamper a single. 129 for 4. Derbyshire are 7 runs ahead of where Duckworth Lewis would have them be. It's not going to rain. It's still a really, really nice evening, but it just gives you a guide to where they are in their run chase, and they're ahead at the moment, but a wicket will change all of that. Still Samit Patel to come and Brooke Guest, but then a bit of a tail. Can all play, of course. Alex Thompson, Pat Brown and Darren Dupavillon, but the next wicket or two is going to be crucial. Stone just took the pace off this one as Whiteley went to pull it away. And is that going to be a leg by, or was there some bat involved?
Fancy there's a bit of bat.
Yeah, he's not signalled, has he? 130 for 4. Ross Whiteley then 3 from 6 at the moment, down at the non-striker's end. Madsen is going up better than a runner ball. He's 33 from 27 not out, and it's Stone into bowl to number 77 who cuts this away. That's only going to be a single. 130 for 4. What I will say about Notts is they are so well drilled in the field in terms of backing up. If you have a look at any time, and I've noticed it through the innings once or twice, I've meant to mention it, if it goes out or wherever it goes on the field, you have a look at the people getting into position at either end to back up, and there's generally 3 players getting into a position for a wild throw. 131 for 4. Stone is in now, and this one's slapped down the ground, and is Hale's able to get anywhere near it? He can't, and it's gone over the ropes for 6. It fairly straight, muscled away by Ross Whiteley. Useful runs. That's the 3rd maximum that's been taken off Ollie Stone's bowling this evening.
Low full toss from Ollie Stone. I didn't think that Ross Whiteley got anywhere near the full amount that he usually does, and it's still sailed over the rope for 6. He really is a powerful striker, this man. Just
needed a little bit more hang time to bring Hales into play. 137 for 4. Stone in again, and this time full and wide, and Whiteley gets the toe end of his bat on it. Takes the single as he nudges it out to Joe Clark. 138 for 4. So useful runs already in this over. 1 ball left. Madsen on 34. He's in an ideal position here, Madsen, because he's got a start. He's going up better than a runner ball, and he knows there's so much firepower at the other end with Ross Whiteley. So if he gets a bad ball, he can try and find the ropes. If not, just keep getting your mate back on strike. Stone to conclude the over, and again he took pace off it, brought it back into Madsen, who will keep strike, just working it off his hips out to Matthew Montgomery. 139 for 4, so 9 from that over. There are 4 overs left. Derbyshire 7th in the North Group. A win will get them moving back towards the top 4. The qualifying positions will sink Nottinghamshire almost mathematically. 6 games to go if they're not there already. Notts snuck into the knockout phase last year with 8 wins, 16 points, but generally over the years you need 17 if not 18 to get into the top 4. Notts with 3 points. If they lost this one, even if they won their last 6, that would only get them to 15 points, and highly unlikely, I would imagine. Next one is hit out into the offside, but it's not going to carry. Down to 3rd man. Single taken. It's Ben Lister back into the attack. And 40 for 4. Lister bowling his 3rd over. On for 17 from the first 2. 140 for 4. Now it's going to be left armour to left-hander. Ross Whiteley on strike.
Ross Whiteley liked the look of Ben Lister when they last played. Just want to get out of his arc, get out of Ross Whiteley's swinging arc here.
4 of the fielders outside the ringer on the leg side. Now then, this is out to Lyndon James. Can he catch it? Yes, he can. Lyndon James with a really good catch. That wasn't easy. Wonderfully caught by Lyndon James, running from down below us towards the big screen here at the Radcliffe Road end, and held it two-handed high above his head. Lovely catch. Whiteley going for the big hit, would probably have crossed the road for 6, but he's gone. 140 for 5. And Ben Lister with an important wicket here on his final appearance for Notts, thanks to a really good catch from Lyndon James. 140 for 5 now, the Falcons in the 17th.
It's a great catch by Lyndon James, running around to his left. Had to judge that really, really well, as it was travelling quickly from Ross Whiteley. He's taken a nice high catch to his, above his head there. Beautiful. And it's a really big wicket. And once again, I think you can tell from the crowd, Samit Patel's walk to the crease.
The ovation, I don't think they knew what to do at first. He got out there very, very quickly, even before they were still showing replays of Lyndon James catching it on the big screen. And Samit was out in the middle talking to Wayne Madsen before they put his picture in his Derbyshire colours of Samit Patel up on the big screens here, and then announced his name. And I think they were a little bit caught out. There were a few boos, lots of cheers, lots of pantomime noises from the crowd. Lister into Patel, away first ball. Seen him play that shot a few times over the years to deep point for a single. He's away. 141 for 5. The old Fox has kept himself right till the back end of the innings. He'd love to just guide his side over the line. It will be the first double that Derbyshire have done over Notts since 2005. Lister runs away from us, wearing 27, gets that underneath the bat of Wayne Madsen, and it remains 141 for 5. 79 years of age between them, Madsen and Samit Patel. I'll put it another way. They've played an awful lot of cricket matches, and they've been in this situation many, many times, and they'll know what's required here to guide Derbyshire over the line. 33 needed from 20. Still make Derbyshire favourites. Lister bowls to Madsen. He slapped this into the offside, and there is Superman Calvin Harrison. A boundary all the way until he got there, and they only get a single. What a wonderful diving stop.
He's an absolutely phenomenal fielder. He covers ground so quickly. Most people wouldn't have got near that with a dive, and Calvin Harrison makes it look so easy. Fantastic fielding. It's what you need in these pressure situations.
Such a tall man as well, actually. You don't necessarily come back, and here's Patel, and he's hit this. Has it gone through the legs of Ben Lister? It's very close to him. Lister's absolutely annoyed with himself that he couldn't stop it, but a good over and a good reward there for Ben Lister. 143 for 5 as we have a bit of Neil Diamond. Derbyshire are 2 ahead of where Notts were at the same stage. When you're interviewing Calvin Harrison, only then do you realise how tall he is. He's quite an imposing figure. Crowd are right into this.
They are indeed. Bit of Sweet Caroline playing around. Some good reception, as I'm sure you can hear. Ollie Stone going to be bowling from the Stuart Broad end. Need over 10 and over here, do the Falcons.
143 for 5. Never been a great fan of extreme pace, Samit Patel. What will Stone do to him here? Well, he's made a nice meaty contact with the bat here, Samit. Out to wide-ish long on, Liam Patterson-White, and they come back for 2. I'm not entirely sure that was in Samit Patel's plans as he ran down for the first one, but Madsen made him run, and now the Notts have had a switcheroo here. The pacey way Ben Martindale has been sent down to wide-ish long on, and Liam Patterson-White will then come up and go into the ring on the offside.
I like that. Martindale quick. Need to cut off 2s here. They're just as important.
145 for 5. Stone in to Patel. He's chopped on. Stone's got him. Bye-bye, Samit. 145 for 6. Patel is out for 4. Bowled by Ollie Stone. Notts leading wicket taker in the tournament. Gets his 12th.
That's a huge wicket, and it's an incredibly big celebration from the Notts boys. They know how big that wicket is, and they'll know how much that will mean to them. They had a point to prove there. Ollie Stone, nasty, short and fast ball into Samit Patel, who's chopping this onto the stumps, and it's a big wicket. Samit Patel's got to go for 4. They lose their 6th now. And now, can the Outlaws get over the line?
They're not there yet. Brooke Guest is more than accomplished player. Coming in at number 8 in the order, Samit Patel. His picture and his details remain on the big screen. Crowd having a little bit of a sing-along. So Brooke Guest, former Lancashire player, been at the county ground for 4 or 5 years or so now. Right-hander, about to face Ollie Stone, who comes in, bowls a shortish delivery. Guest rolls his wrist, turns it down to Ben Lister, down below us at long leg, single taken, 146 for 6. And this has just got very, very tight all of a sudden. It's all down, with all due respect to Brooke Guest and the rest, but it's all down to how Notts can control Wayne Madsen, and can they get him out? I think if Madsen's there at the end, Derbyshire win. Would be my gut instinct from here. Next ball sees him drive it again. Well, it wasn't a drive, it was short enough from Stone to pull, but he's pulled it straight and gets a couple. 148 for 6.
Again, that one just looking like a pace off from Ollie Stone, and Madsen just swatting it down the ground, right back past the non-striker. It was always going to be 2 because Ben Martindale is very, very wide out long on.
26 from 14, and another thing that Notts have got to do here is make sure it's no more than 14. No balls or wides here. Comes in to Madsen again, and he's driven this out onto the offside. There'll only be a single. Out to Jack Haynes.
Ollie Stone are really tidy over this. Only 6 from it so far. 25 off 13. You almost feel that Brooke Guest has sort of got a free swing at this one.
Notts won't mind him getting a single, actually.
Exactly.
It's the last ball of the over. He's 1 not out from the only previous ball he's faced, and he's played this into the offside, and that's going to take some stopping from Haynes. Good dive from Jack Haynes. They're going to run back for 2. In comes the throw. Throw it to the non-striker's end. Ollie Stone couldn't gather it, but I think Madsen was back there, so Derbyshire, from their perspective, did what they would have wanted to do, got back for a couple, and it keeps Wayne Madsen on strike for the start of the 19th. 151 for 6. Same stage, Notts were 5 runs better off.
What can they do here? Ben Lister, he's going to be into the he's going to bowl his 4th and final, so that would mean that it's either going to be Lyndon James or Matthew Montgomery to bowl the final over. I think
we've seen Lyndon do it a couple of times, haven't we?
I think you'll find that is going to be Lyndon James.
So Stone's bowled out 4 overs, 2 for 35. Went for 3 sixes in there, but really important wicket. Here's Lister in now, bowls, and this is slammed away into the offside. Lister's got another one, and Madsen has gone. No need to tell you who caught it.
The man who doesn't drop many.
It's Superman, Calvin Harrison. It was hit flat and hard into the offside. It was again screaming towards the boundary boards, and again Calvin Harrison leapt high above his head. And Madsen's gone 40 from 35 balls, 3 4s and a 6. Always felt he was playing with enough control there to get Derbyshire over the line, but those last 2 overs needing 26 to win. He's just gone for the big shot from the first ball, and it's not paid off. Here comes Alex Thompson, and now it's a tall order for Derbyshire.
It is indeed. Lister getting the man that they wanted, the man that they needed. Of course, Alex Thompson can bat. No disrespect to him and Brooke Guest, but it is very difficult to come in and strike it the way that they need to strike it. 23 off an 11.
Yep, time for a hero. Will it be Alex Thompson in the Falcons colours? Lister bowls to him, wide of the off stump. Going to be some looks towards the umpire, and from here it looked as if Graham Lloyd was trying to take off. His arms went out a little bit and then he brought them back in his side. I thought he was flapping his wings for a moment. A little worried he was going to call a wide, but Ben Lister gets the benefit of the doubt. 2 for 21 to the New Zealander on his last appearance for Notts. He's weighed in with a couple of really important wickets. Whiteley and Madsen. He bowls now, and Thompson's away just with a single though down the ground. 22 required. 152 for 7.
22 off 9. It's just starting to get a little bit out of hand, a little bit out of reach. Notts can just stop a boundary in these next 2 balls. You feel that they are very much in the pound seats.
Brooke Guest on strike on 3. Lister bowls to him, and again he's just thrown everything at that except the kitchen sink, and he's dragged it onto his boot and gets a single. One more to Brooke Guest. 153 for 7. Falcons require 21 from 8 balls. Notts catching this evening as well, shouldn't be overlooked. Some terrific catches from Jack Haynes and Matthew Montgomery and Ben Martindale and Calvin Harrison and Lyndon James. All needed some really sharp opportunism in the field. Some skilled catching. All have been held. Another single taken as Thompson drags this onto the leg side. Tell you what, this is a really good over from Ben Lister.
It's been an absolutely phenomenal spell from Ben Lister. We said at the beginning that he would want to go out with a bang, and he certainly is. It's brilliant. 2 for 24 off 3.5. Last ball of the over. Fantastic.
20 required. Guest on strike. Moves across his crease and the ball thuds into his pad. They take a leg by. So 19 required for the Falcons from the final over. That's going to take some getting. Ben Lister, 4 overs, 2 for 24. Done really well this evening. And we're down to the last over. Those figures: Ollie Stone 4 overs 2 for 35. Liam Patterson-White 4 overs 2 for 41 after he went for 27 in his first over. Lister 4 overs 2 for 24. Matthew Montgomery 2 overs none for 13, and it will be Lyndon James, his only over of the innings so far. Went for 9 runs, but got him the wicket of Cam Fletcher, who was striking at better than a runner ball at that stage.
Lyndon James from the Stewart Broad end to finish it off. 19. In the last one, Lyndon James first over went for 9 runs and picked up a wicket. What does he have in store for us?
Well, Notts will be desperate to get over the line and just keep alive those very faint hopes of somehow going on a bit of a run in the 6 games that remain. Here's Lyndon James. They've not won at home this season. In the blast, slower ball goes through to the keeper. Nicely taken by Tom Moores, and he was all poised and ready to underarm it at the stumps. Should they go for the run, they didn't. So now 19 off 5. Notts have lost 3 games at home this season. They've not lost 4 at home since 2019.
Well bowled Lyndon James, just taking pace off. Brooke Guest swinging and swatting it away.
There's Lyndon James in again. The floodlight's starting to take hold. This is slammed into the offside. They've got to come back for 2. It's been nicely fielded out there by Hales. 2 taken, so 17 required from 4 balls. 157 for 7. Alex Hales, by the way, he's on 92 catches in the blast for Notts Outlaws, tying most with Stephen Mullaney. If this was to be his farewell, just wondered if he might get a catch this evening to top that list. Next delivery on its way now, and this isn't going anywhere near Hales or anybody else. It's gone through to Tom Moores, but they've run through. There was a little bit of something on it. Single taken, so Notts barring an absolute calamity here, very close to being over the line. Derbyshire needs 16 from just 3 deliveries. They posted 173 for 5. Joe Clark out for 47, the top score. Tom Moores played nicely for his 31. Matthew Montgomery, some real beef at the end of the innings, made 28 not out. Alex Hales fell for 26 to his old mate Samit Patel, who got a couple of wickets. Here's Lyndon James in again, bowls now, and this one's hit high into the sky. Ben Martindale's out there and leaps and can't get anything on it, and it's gone for 6. So this game's still alive. Big hit from Alex Thompson. Hopefully I've not written Derbyshire off too soon. 10 required from 2.
It's a massive hit from Alex Thompson. Martindale ran in at first as soon as he hit it, because he thought it was going to fall safely inside the boundary, but it just kept going. It's gone all the way. It's given Derbyshire a bit of hope.
I've seen that done once before that I can remember. Against Notts, Keaton Jennings hitting Harry Gurney for a 6 and a 4. Last 2 balls of the match at Durham about 10 years ago. Next delivery is hit into the offside, and they'll only get a single. And you heard the roar. You heard the roar. Notts are going to get a home win. They're dancing in the cheap seats. Not that there are many cheap seats around these days anywhere up and down the country, but those that have come along are going to be able to celebrate a Notts victory. Those in the green and gold colours, of course. 165 for 7. Honours are going to be squared for this season as the final ball is hit high down the ground. Can Martindale get his second catch of the evening? You bet he can. Lyndon James raises his arms up high in the air with his second wicket, and Notts have got the victory. Derbyshire close on 165 for 8. So Notts have won by 8 runs. It's not been easy. It's been an absolute crackerjack of a local derby, but Notts are now 3 undefeated, 2 wins and a rained-off game in their last 3 matches, and they've got the better of Derbyshire. They've denied Derbyshire their first victory at Trent Bridge since 2013 in the Blast, and they've denied Derbyshire a first double over Notts in this competition since 2005, with Lyndon James getting that final wicket to finish on 2 for 19. Couple of wickets also for Ben Lister, Ollie Stone and Liam Patterson-White. Notts 173 for 5, Falcons 165 for 8. Not been it's not been the highest scoring game. We've got a top score of Nye Donald's 52 on the evening, but I've really enjoyed that as a contest.
It's been an absolute cracker of a game. It's been phenomenal. I thought the Outlaws have batted beautifully and bowled well, and then, to be fair to the Falcons, they've played really well as well. It's been an entertaining game from start to finish, and they'll be absolutely buzzing, or Joe Clark and his men, that they've got over the line.
Yes, the Notts players just shaking hands with their Derbyshire counterparts, including Samit Patel there. Samit clearly wanted to put on a show this evening. He had his moment in the early part of the match. He got rid of Jack Haynes, and then, of course, the wicket of Alex Hales. He was so pleased to remove Hales thanks to a catch in the deep from Nye Donald. But when it came to going out there with the bat, I just wonder if there might be 1 or 2 questions over his decision to leave himself to number 7 in the order. They promoted Zach Chappell. That didn't work. He was out second ball without scoring to Liam Patterson-White. Derbyshire gave it a right old go. Nye Donald in particular was looking very, very dangerous indeed. 52 from 26 balls, hitting 5 sixes. And then Wayne Madsen, he took over the mantle. 40 from 35 balls. He hit 3 fours and a 6. But other support a little bit in and out. Cam Fletcher made 29. Nobody else got double figures, and that really left Derbyshire facing a little bit of a mountain over the last 3 overs, and Notts were able to get over the line. So it's not been pretty. You can say it's a campaign that started appallingly with 5 straight losses, but Notts just showing a little bit of form over over the last 3 hours. I was going to say over the last 3 games. They were in danger of being blown away by Durham at the weekend if the rains hadn't come. They won last Friday at New Road when the rains did come. But this evening, Notts getting their first 20 overs a side win here at Trent Bridge this season, and probably just about deserved it.
They did deserve it. I think on the all they did play the better cricket. I think Matthew Montgomery's little cameo at the end has really just tipped him over the line. I think he played really nicely for his 28, and couple of nice big sixes there, and the 4 off the final ball that just helps with momentum.
Yeah, he got 28 from 14 balls, 2 4s and 2 6s. So it doesn't leap out of the scorecard, does it?
No.
28 not out, but then you throw in 28 from 14 right at the end of the innings. He's turned a 150 into a 170 odd.
And chasing 150 over 170 is a completely different game. So really well battered there, and I think the way that they went about it in the field, they were fantastic. They saved runs, diving on every ball. The catches that were taken were good catches. They were really good. The little 1%ers, they looked like they were starting to click, and you never know. It really is a funny game. It's a momentum game as T20 cricket, and they might just go on a little bit of a run. They've got 2 county championship games here, could help them there, and then if they carry on the form in the next 6 games, they could be very much in and amongst it at the end of the day.
Well, I know we'll hand back to Adam, and he'll give all the scores and all the details of the matches that have been taking place up and down the country, but I've just had a quick glimpse, and I can see the main thing. I mean, you can only take small steps, can't you? You can only get
Correct.
the first rung on the ladder. Notts have been 9th out of 9 since the very first evening of this season's blast. I think they've crawled off the bottom of the table. Hopefully Adam Hassel can confirm that and talk you through the next few minutes with all the other scores, but we can leave you here, Kyle and myself, with the news that Notts have triumphed. They've beaten Derbyshire in a match that swung this way and that and kept us on the edge of our seats almost literally over the last 3.5 hours. But it's Notts with the victory. They posted 173 for 5 and restricted the Derbyshire Falcons to 165 for 8, leaving the Outlaws victors by 8 runs.
Well, what a game of cricket we have just seen here at Trent Bridge. I said with Luke Fletcher at the beginning of the programme, it's all about games here. Friday night, under the lights, against your rivals, Derbyshire Falcons, and the Outlaws win by 8 runs. An absolutely amazing game of cricket. Lots of toing and throwing, maybe even some controversy, but the Outlaws captain, Joe Clark, is going to speak to me very, very shortly. He's just literally having his photo taken. Children that have been here at Trent Bridge, but yeah, what a game. 2 points for the Outlaws, and the rest of the Outlaws are making their way out onto the pitch to sign, as they do here every game. But I imagine straight in, mate, straight in. First of all, congratulations on your first win as Outlaws captain here at Trent Bridge.
Here at Trent Bridge, yeah. Well, you do me there, say the first win.
It's your second one, mate, it's your second one. Don't worry, but your first one here at Trent Bridge.
Yeah.
What a way to win it against Derby. And yeah, just tight game, bit of controversy, which we'll come on to maybe. But how does it feel?
Oh, look, it's for me, myself, and for the lads in the dressing room, we wanted that so much tonight. I spoke to the boys before the game and said, you know, that remember the feeling that we had at Derby when things didn't go our way and we played poorly. This means so much to the people of Nottingham, to the members, fans here, and to us as players. It's a game that we look out for. So to do it in that way as well, under pressure, the boys stepped up, and really happy.
I'm going to talk about under pressure and stuff like that. You as a captain, I want to talk to you about Liam Patterson-White, because to be fair to him, he went for a few in his first over. Now a lot of people would have said, let's change it up for a little bit, give you a couple of overs, but you went back to him. Why did you do that, and does that show you what you believe in him and what you want to see from your group?
For me, you've got Liam's in the team for a reason, and he's come in and he's done so well, and he's proven to me and to Pete that he should have been probably in from game one. But for me, I've said all along to the lads up there, and the way I want our boys to feel under my leadership is that they're backed all the way. And that was a tough over, and I threw him in the deep end a bit. It's it's not easy in that power play, and Donald got hold of him, and for me, the way he's bowled outside the power play, I'm not judging him on how he's bowled in the power play there. He hasn't done it before, so he'll learn a great deal from that. But I knew he'd be tricky if he got it right, and for me, I backed him all the way, and he proved that to me as well. And for me, that's going to do so much to him as a cricketer, and ultimately, he's not spawn and bred. He's our player, and hopefully it means that he can go on and be the player that everyone in that dressing room knows he can be.
Is that what kind of like this sort of start to this T20 campaign's been about? Because it's not been easy, everybody kind of knows that, but it's about backing players even in the tough moments, because I don't want to use the word journey and stuff like that, but it's about process, it's about a long-term goal, it's about more than one game or one innings, it's about what we're trying to do as a club and where we're going.
Yeah, definitely. It's easy for me to stand here and say, we've lost Mulaney, Dan Christian, Samet, Jake Ball, some big players in our T20 side, and if you look at the average age of our group now, then we're far younger than we've been, and we've got way less experience than we've been. So, like Benny Martindale, for me, the way he played tonight is so good. He might be sitting there going, "Oh, I wish I could have got more," but the intent he showed, his first game at Trent Bridge, batting, and I think he was ready to take on the bowlers, and I think that's what I want, these lads to go and flourish and go and show everyone what they're capable of, and people are going to get opportunities that they might not have saw last year and the year before, and it shows. You come in and you take the opportunity, then you're going to have more nights like this where you get to play on a Friday night at Trent Bridge, and honestly, I've played a lot of cricket around the world and there's nothing better.
Let's talk about the way that you got out, because I think it'd be rude for us not to talk about it, and obviously we don't want to say too much because we don't want to maybe push any buttons, but did you feel that you were out, or because obviously it looked like you weren't very happy, Derby were very obviously they took the wicket, but do you feel that you were out, or do you think that
I mean, look, I don't want to get into whether I was out or not, but personally, my standards are I've got myself to 40 there, and for me, I saw me getting a score there that would get us in a good position. So that's the more frustrating thing, is that I've got to 40 and got out, and that was a crucial time. Me and Alex were going well, and I felt like we could really take the game deep and kill them there a little bit. So if anything, that's probably where a bit more of the frustration came, and I'm trying not to be like that actually since I've been captain, to be honest, and unfortunately that just made me show that side a little bit.
Shows you got it inside, mate. You got it inside. Right, let's talk just finally. It's the end of obviously the T20 block now, going to red ball, and we'll talk about that on another day. But when we look at players like Ben Lister, obviously his last game for us today, Alex Hale's going away, just how good is it to end on a win, to then think about that when we play T20 later on in the year?
Well, firstly, to have Alex by my side out there he's helped me so much.
Because people don't realise how much he talks about that.
You won't see it, especially on the live stream, and whether you're watching the game, you won't see how much they'll go to him. And he's played so much T20 cricket, and the experience that he has. I said to him before a competition, I said, look, I'll be coming to you a lot. I know you might not want that, but I'll be coming to you a lot. And he's been so good, and the way he played at Worcester to get us that first win and get us going showed his true class. And obviously we're gutted that he's going, but hopefully he can continue his momentum without him. And you never know, later on in the competition we've got plenty of games to come and anything can happen, so maybe we can see him towards the back end of the competition.
Just a word on Ben Lister as well, because in that death bowl in there, last couple of overs, him and Ollie Stone, they really showed up, really.
He's a very quiet guy, so but honestly I feel like that's a good thing in them situations, because he just I'm speaking to him there and he's so clear in what he's doing, he's so calm under pressure, and I feel like he's been one of them that you probably haven't really realised how well he's bowled until you come off and you see his figures and you think, oh, he's actually not gone for me there. He's fitted in so well into the group, and obviously we wish both of them well, and hopefully Ben's enjoyed his time here playing, and hopefully we can see him here maybe in the future.
Right, I think I've kept you long enough.
So
congratulations.
We're back here in the morning, so I'll be straight to bed.
We don't need to talk about the Red Bull yet, do we? Let's enjoy tonight, because it has been tough. And just finally then, from yourself, how have you found it? These 8 games now, really, and the tough start to the campaign. But how have you found it? And do you feel like you're growing as a captain, as a person, as a player, and along with the team as well now?
Yeah, definitely. Firstly, I think we've found a nice balance to the side. With Liam coming in, it gives us that extra batter down the order, left-handed batter. And I feel like it's a nice combination with me and Ben on top, and obviously that will be for the next games as well, with Alex moving on and going to Sri Lanka. But I've really enjoyed it, and although obviously we had the poor start, I feel like I've grown into it. And honestly, it's nights like tonight where you see the boys do what they've done there under pressure, and it makes you smile and real happy that I'm in the position that I'm in, where I get to lead them boys out.
Well, it's lovely to see you smile, JC. Congratulations once again. I'll let you go off. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.
See you later, mate.
You.
Well done.
All right, cheers.
Congratulations to Joe Clark and all of the Outlaws. And to be fair to Derby, they played their part. But it was 2 points for the Outlaws to end this kind of T20 run on a victory. So the Red Bull begins on Sunday. If you'd like to come down to Trent, you are more than welcome. But Trent Live will be there as well. And T20 comes back later on in the year. But from everybody on the Trent Live crew, thank you very much for joining us. Come on, Outlaws!